you ever thought about that? Just don't do it. You don't need those items.
True. Probably have to close my I don't want to close my window. It's just gonna be loud for a bit.
How do you think people grinded rank 14 originally felt? You weren't entitled to that gear? I mean, nobody's entitled to anything in the game, right? Except for being able to play
Does this
it.
give money?
That's about it.
I think
if you
it
pay
does.
for the game.
Sure.
Got the Shade Hound now? Oh fuck, bro, that's so big. I'm just waiting for 9.1 for that personally.
Did I ever do the quest?
However, advertising $70 deluxe edition really sold me on the value of it. Oh, I'm so happy, Emma.
Receipts.
I'm so happy that you're able to do that for Bobby. He really appreciates you.
We have to do the hangout
He
soon.
really does.
So. How did I get here? What is this play? Hue Rap? What the heck? Ey, was geht, Mann?
Boosted? Yeah, I'm getting
Alter, ich wollte
boosted.
mich schon fragen, wo du bist.
I made a tweet
So lange nicht mehr
actually about
gesehen.
it.
Übrigens, ich spiele nicht mal
Ah,
den,
that was pretty
den
funny.
Deutschland-Account, Mann. Den Europa-Account.
Where is it?
Ist so traurig. Ich wollte den spielen. Ich habe nur Euler nicht bekommen. Und ich habe voll viele Leute gesehen, die das Schwert und Euler bekommen haben. Die haben das Schwert bekommen, Mann. Voll viele Leute haben voll viel Glück.
Buy boost to
Unglaublich.
58. Buy gold.
So,
Buy mage
But
boost to
anyways.
60. That's where we're at right now.
what up, Mann?
Buy slave pin
Der
runs to
verlorene
70.
Sohn ist zurück.
Buy
Ja,
arena
dude.
carries for rating
Hab
and
dich
gear.
vermisst.
Buy more gold. Buy BOEs
Ich muss
off
mal
the
öfters
auction
in
house.
unserem
Buy
Discord
GKP
vorbeischauen.
items from Karazhan. Finally, now I can play the game.
Ich wollte auch nicht bekommen. Ja, ich kann sie noch bekommen. Ist halt nur, ich will auch das Schwert. Das Schwert ist voll gut. Das Schwert ist voll gut. Das Ding da,
That's
voll
where
gut.
we're at, boys. That's where
Bin
we're
gerade bei
at.
52 Pity. Hast du schon 50-50
Nice
verloren
to
gewonnen?
dude.
Ich sag's dir.
If no
Mann.
one buys and spends money, do you think
Ich
Blizzard
sag's
might
dir.
take that as a lack of
Vielleicht krieg ich
appetite
die
for
noch.
projects
Ey,
like
viel Glück,
classic
Mann, viel Glück.
TBC? I
Beste.
don't know.
Animationen sind voll gut. Was sagst du dir?
Not the boosting crusade.
Guck,
Ja.
guck dir das an. Deswegen finde ich das Schwert so gut.
So,
So, okay. Siehst du das?
I
Jetzt, Lisa hat auch den Buff, wo sie schneller angreift. Also kannst du das Schwert benutzen, um jeden schneller zu machen.
I don't really care about.
Aber wenn dich...
you know,
Oh!
anything else. I just want to
Nice.
get 60. It's literally all I care
Nice.
about.
Ich habe Kaching übrigens auch bekommen im Story. Warte, wo ist sie?
Efficiency.
Kaching bekommen.
Yeah, I'm a min-max efficiency person.
Es ist
I will min-max
nicht
the
mal der
fun out of
schlechteste,
every game.
weil ich will D-Look nicht, ich will Chi-Chi nicht.
Oh, here we go. Here we
Und,
go.
und Kaching ist fein.
We're getting
Let's finish this quickly.
179.
Also es ist kein echtes verloren.
Dude,
Ja?
this experience
Ach so.
sucks.
Ist gut dann, ist gut dann.
This is awful.
So.
This is how it must
Is this a
be.
troll?
Nein.
There's no way. I got half
Warum
of one bar.
fahren Leute die ganze Zeit an mir vorbei, ey?
Dude, this is so bad. I might level my own character.
So. Was machst du denn so, übrigens?
Just wait. Okay.
Wie hast du meinen Stream gefunden? Erstens das und zweitens, warum bist du so früh wach?
I've never done
Oder
this
was machst du
before,
ja?
So
Allgemein.
it's all new to me.
Hab 0, 3, 50 gewonnen. So. Zeitbeginn. Unlucky, Mann, unlucky. Du kriegst ja immer Charaktere. Also es ist ziemlich nervig, die ganze Charaktere zu bekommen. Mit einem brutales Opfer. Deswegen habe ich
Oh, das ist
vorgenommen,
lit.
nachdem ich Orle bekommen habe, ziehe ich nur noch einen Waffenbanner. Ich habe genug Charaktere. Und ich werde wahrscheinlich nicht mehr so viele Charaktere wollen. Euler / Hutau sind, glaube ich, Main Waifu. Und
Log
dann
tag with higher
dann hör ich auf,
people? Nah,
irgendwelche Leute
because
zu ziehen.
everybody was
Für eine
like,
Weile.
they were already doing it. they're like these super
Konzentriere mich
tryhard,
auf
like,
Waffen. Ich
P3
habe nur
builds
eine
that are doing it,
5-Sterne-Waffe.
and like I didn't want to
Eine einzige.
for mob tags.
Ich brauche mehr Waffen, Mann. So.
Well, to make a long story short, there's a particular matter at hand
We'll
that
see
the
how much
Knights
I get out of
requires your
this.
assistance with.
Forever is
Yes.
crazy.
It has been
Actually,
one thing
the
after
rate
another
now
recently.
is XP per day.
Neither myself
Now I gotta
nor
somehow
any
listen
of
to
the
two
Mondstadt
things.
garrison are able to catch
I want to
a
listen
moment
to
of peace.
listen to
That's how many
Asmongold because he's a
experience
good
you get
man,
per day.
smart person. At the same time, need to pay attention. Ne? Musste früher aufstehen, weil ich Vater zur Arbeit bringen musste. Ah, okay. Deswegen bin ich hier. Nice. Kollektiv die Zeit verschwenden. Englisch da. Okay, Mann,
I
okay.
have recently received multiple reports
Greetings
from the
from
Knights
Wrath
Hi,
Lord King
of
good
Dear
luck
someone
with the
within the
polls.
Lawrence clan having
probably
close
in a year.
dealings
Hey,
with
der
the
Marionette.
I think they'll probably announce Wrath. They'll probably
Understood.
announce Wrath.
Alright,
next
I'll
to
switch to
Sean.
Japanese.
That's what I'm expecting.
Also, I need to collect so many points.
There was a dark period in
I was like,
Mondstadt's
I
history
have only
when the
10. I
aristocracy
need to do
ruled
this
over
story
the
quest,
city.
then I have to do the
The hard-won freedom
thing.
that followed with
Takes
the
a lot
fall
of time.
Decorabian was
I don't
lost
think I
once
have
again,
chests anymore.
as slavery,
2 years?
the first
No, there's no
Dandelion
way.
Knight Vanessa
What?
spearheaded
Hey,
the
beef.
revolution that
Why are people
overthrew the
watching
old
my stream?
aristocratic system. The aristocrats
Because,
that
like,
had oppressed the people of Mondstadt
TBC
were
is
none
gonna
other
go
than the
by
Lawrence
really
clan.
fast.
Wait,
you
let
know-
me pause. Let me silence this guy for a second. Too many people talk. I can't understand. No need to switch.
Oh,
No,
Paimon,
I'll
that's
switch.
it.
I'll switch.
So the clan's descendants are now
I'll switch.
scheming
You're
with
my
the
boy,
bad
you know.
guys to
I'll
carry
switch
out
for
more
you.
dubious
I'll be
deeds.
gone in a while.
We
Alright.
suspect as much,
Alright.
though
But I'll
we've
still
yet to
switch.
obtain any solid evidence. The reason I summoned you here.
What's good? How you been?
Unfortunately, the
I've been
Knights
fine.
of Favonius and
Fine.
the aristocracy
Good to see you.
have been at odds with one another for as
Good to
long as
see
I
you.
can remember.
So, hope you're doing fine as well.
We've already
Just not
considered
much,
every
you know,
possible way of
talk about.
resolving our differences. But it seems the descendants of the
You know, I should
aristocracy
probably
remain
keep those-
antagonistic towards the
Yeah,
Knights.
there were some things I was thinking about. But did you guys hear about what happened to the author of Berserk? Good game, brother.
No
Did
matter
you guys
stance we
hear
take
what
when
happened?
dealing with them,
Unfortunately,
the outcome is always the same.
like if you guys didn't know,
Our
he
efforts
passed
only
away.
result in
I
adding
just
more
heard
fuel
about
to
it
the
today.
flames.
So
We could come
that's
knocking on
pretty
their door
tough.
on the grounds of a search warrant, but if the investigation were to come up
It-
empty,
you know,
our
Berserk is the
tensions
same
and
way in like
distrust would
Hunter x
only
Hunter.
increase.
I sorta
All of
sorta
our
want
past
those both
efforts would
to
have been wasted.
continue, but with one of them now, I'm not sure if it will continue. With Hunter x Hunter, I hear that the original author, doesn't really want to write more, even though the story is good. So it's very sad in multiple things.
You are in fact the best candidate to represent
I know,
the Knights
Gene.
of
We have to do the
Favonius.
thing because we are the God-given child, representing
But
the
you
whole
need not
world.
emphasize your role as
I do
the
not
honorary
like-
knight.
Wait, who
You're a
died? The
traveler from a
author
distant
of
land, and you can
Berserk.
approach the aristocrats in this
The
way.
manga / anime Berserk. Guts, Angry Man. The guy on the 9th of May he died. And this I just heard right from it today. I was just, dang man.
Once you come to friendly terms
Holy
with
moly.
the Lawrence clan, you should be in a good position to learn more of
Berserk,
their possible
Hunter x Hunter.
connections with the Fatui.
I like One Piece a lot. I'll put it in there as well. Are just one of those long-lasting but very good written ones. Very good written manga / animes. And then
Whoa. Leave it to
it's
Master
very
Yi
sad to
come up
hear
with
that,
such a
you know,
thorough
we
plan.
might not hear Alexa play Guts theme. I think that's bannable, but you know, let me see. So, I'll play it. So, let me see. 12 years ago, jeez. For my man. So yeah. I hate Hunter x Hunter though. Interesting theme. Yep. Hope the Ant arc dies a boring death. Oh boy. I know the Ant arc is it was pretty tough. So much going on right now. Give me a second. We gotta continue this. But yeah. I'll be sure to get
Perhaps such
Euler
plans
as soon
have
as
become
possible,
second
but
nature after
so
the
much
Schubert
wording.
Lawrence clan member in question is Schubert. Lately, he can often be found strolled. It is said that he is difficult to get along with due to his temperamental disposition. But if we approach him calmly, then
know,
things should
I
go
feel
off
like
without a hitch.
the end arc was the biggest letdown. Oh wow, really? I thought the end arc was pretty good. Like I thought one is one of the best. Can you tell me why? Like I feel like the end arc was one of the best. I hate if people die, and it tells you guys a lot about this. Like I thought it was good, and even though a lot of people, a lot of people died, and I was very, very sad. So Hunter x Hunter always has this sort of theme with a very quick death. Like someone you like or a character that you know come to love just straight up can just perish in the next moment. Hunter x Hunter is very fickle with that. Very liberal. If you can use words, But yeah, leave it to me. She's just talking
Thanks
about
again for your
Lawrence,
help. If you run into any snags along the way, I'll do anything in my power to support you.
Sure, man. The obligatory. Hey, you know the best part is? You're gonna do it anyways. So, I'm gonna send you to do it, to deal with that. I'm not gonna do it by myself. People saying Sao had the most wasted potential and telling me they love the Arndt arc. Fuck dog ass though. Dog ass? But come on, man, dog ass. He might be slow, but he's strong. To be honest, if I had to compare, here, I think I like. Give me a second. So, I think the better version of. Oh wow! I actually gotten his name wrong. It was Wait and Lot. That Lot was the name. Now I've got it. Now that I'm looking through it, Lot is the dog ass, or Lot is the Wait. I think. Not sure, but I like a tanky fighter. That's a good archetype. Dog ass is just a very, very strong fighter, a one-shot machine, but at the same time he just dies easily. Yeah, screw him for dying. Bartre can't die that fast because he can't get doubled. He's quick. Oh, he's a little quick. Lol, darts shits on all of them. Yeah, darts is high tier. Can't say much about it, but I'm going now. See you, boys. See you, Europe. Get a hoo-ya. I have to be silent because my mom is sick and asleep, but...
I do hope the Knights of Favonius are all working hard.
So... Hey.
Huh? Who are you?
Hello. We're here too.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Did I hear you correctly? Hello?
Hello.
Huh. And I suppose you think that you can simply strut up here and greet me in such an ignoble and vulgar manner?
I mean, you're standing facing the wall. I don't think I need to give you a proper sort of conduct. I don't have to conduct myself in a proper manner. You're literally just standing there and watching the wall. Watching the rock just, erode. Is that a Guinness Book World Record? To watch a rock erode from time and rain? They should make something like that for him.
Given that I don't recognize you, I can only assume that you are a traveler of some variety.
Oh.
I'll have you know that you are speaking with the Schubert Lawrence,
Oh.
a blood descendant of the magnanimous nobility.
Oh!
If you wish to address me, you'd best consider your words more carefully. Such nonchalant manners are inadmissible and will never do.
Oh, my apologies. My choice of words has been a little lacking lately. Oh,
Now,
yeah.
if you're somehow
yeah, by the way.
capable of understanding anything
I will
I've
only
said,
stream
then you will
different
get down
games
on
other
your
than
knees,
Fire Emblem for now,
apologize
off
for your
like down
negligent
weeks.
actions, and give
Very
me a
late.
proper
Just
introduction.
to
That is the
point out.
appropriate etiquette.
Also don't feel like talking too much, honestly. Just wanna
That's etiquette? Ivan's never heard of
just wanna
something
listen
so
to Asmongold.
complicated before.
I've been, I didn't feel like streaming, but Asmongold came by, talked a little bit. I'm always eager to listen.
In
I'm
former
you know,
times, when
I'm an
people knew
Asmongold
their
fan,
place
very big
and
one.
respected
It's a good man.
traditions, such conduct was only basic courtesy when greeting a nobleman.
You're still facing a wall. It's daytime. You can turn around. It's not gonna erode anytime soon.
And neglecting your manners would result in a swift whipping.
You should probably not look like that at a child or at a, you know, young adult. And
Look at the world now. Rules have been thrown to the wayside and manners forgotten. I cannot bear to see such degradation.
sounds like too much of hassle to
What
me.
did you say? You dare question the dignity of the nobility?
Alright.
I'll have you know that though the Lawrence
Yo,
clan
don't
is in
point your
decline,
naked finger at someone.
myself and others of noble blood are looking for a chance to restore our rightful honor.
You are balding.
Just look around. The people are unruly and undisciplined. I, however, strive to retain the elegance and
Yes,
etiquette
yes.
of the nobility. After
My God.
all, we are... Save your
Yeah.
words. I find your manners and bearing repulsive. I have nothing to discuss. Besides, I am in no way obligated to now I have more press.
Yeah, I know, Schubert. So, let me switch. Oh, you have to wait until she's done talking. Oh, there was a second Paimon. So, let me listen to him again.
I'll do a BG.
So,
Yeah, what's it a BG?
what's that?
Whisper me for BG. On my queue in like 5 minutes. 2 minutes.
Chinese one? Manage voice over files. Current.
Dolby
Okay.
1.1 font?
The Korean has the least amount. Is there like word compression?
とりあえず一旦戻って相談しよう。
Sure. You know, slightly weebish Paimon who I don't understand anymore. Let's go. So. Jeez. Oh no.
Maybe one more person?
What have I done? So.
One more person, preferably.
Hey Amber. Oh, I like in English a lot more,
まさ
honestly.
かこんなところで会うなんて奇遇だね。あれ
So.
その表情
I have to pause
なん
Asmongold
か嫌
again.
なことでもあった
Can't believe it. Can't even listen to my man. Can't believe. So.
陳団長から依頼を受けたんだけど失敗したかもしれない。
We have, you know, we have find ourselves adrift a land of words too much for me to understand.
大丈夫気にしないで失敗なんてよくあることだから元気出して
That's Amber for you.
そう
I
だ
like Amber.
私も手伝うよ陳団長からシューベルト・ローレンスでもいざ会ってみたらすごく変わった性格をあ私その人知ってるよきっと礼儀知らず私も何回も言われたよローレンスみんなそうなのか貴族は貴族なりの矜持を持つべきだっていうのが彼らの考えだねまあ言ってる意味はわかるけどこの時代を生きる人じゃないって感じがするかな
That's a lot.
でも
Okay.
中にはそうじゃない人もいるんだよ友達そう
Friend.
彼女はローレンス家の人間だけど
How would a member of the Lawrence clan join the
エウレアは
Knights?
特別なの言い換えればでも彼女もローレンス家のでもそのエウルアっていう人がローレンスそれは一言では説明できないかな簡単に彼らからしたら
Our family members consist of no names.
でも彼女はトシコを襲う暴風山地
Okay.
ありがとう気をつけてね
Alright, let's go.
まさか騎士団にそんな
It's
人
too
が
much
いたなんて
talking, man. Too much talking.
ローレ
I
ン
get
ス家の
100 of
礼儀
these.
作法を教わる
I
なら
have
ローレン
75,000
ス家
honor.
の
I
人
go
間
into
を
TBC.
探すのが手っ取り早い
Nice
だろ
stop.
うな
So. Let's see.
That's the way it works.
Should probably start doing more of those streams. They're way into the
Yeah,
night.
that's why I used
Just so
honor
I
to
can
buy
feel
yeah,
good
shit
about
at 70 exactly.
Practice talking to myself.
You're not getting 75k? Why
What
would
is
I
he
not be
doing
able to
right
get
now?
75,000 honor? I'm confused. Like, why would I not be able to do that? I'm already like pretty much halfway there. Because they nerfed it, we just do it more.
Yes.
252 for an AV one. Okay, so let's do some math. So I need 8 of these, so that means I need 92 more. 92 more means I need to do at least 31 BG wins. 31 BG wins and 250. That's 4 for each of them, so that's what's that? 4, 8, 12. That would be...
What? What's that?
That's like 7,000 honor right there.
Level 2?
That's 7,000 honor
there it
at
is.
like the lowest estimation possible. At getting 250 per win. Assuming that I win every single Alterac Valley, and I also obtain 250 honor from each game. And also on top of that, I need to win more Arathi Basin games, and also more Warsong Gulch games. Like, there's a lot more that, yeah, and that's not including HKs or anything like that. That's what I'm saying. And I have 13 days to do this.
What a cinematic approach.
Getting
I can get 50
75K
bucks
is
if I
gonna be
do
a joke.
the spiral
I can
biscuit.
see where I'm at right now.
But I don't want it.
37.97. Okay. 37,977. So let's see where I'm at the end of the game.
Okay.
そうよ。ここの異変に気づいて急いで駆けつけてきたのに、君が手柄を逃した上に私が加勢していなかった。でも怪我がな
PC, you're
くてよ
taking
かった
forever
わ。
at 70? Oh, for me, it never
Let's
did.
see what she
I
is.
just farmed it out.
大変だ
I
った
never
でしょ。
thought about it. You just get the item.
は？
It's easy.
どうして憎むべき相手をでもさっき
I mean, if you have a problem getting an item, just get it.
もし君たちが怪我をしていたら手柄を横取りされただけじゃなく、そんなことまでさせられた日にそういう意味だったのかよ。ええ、そうよ。やっぱり
It's not hard, you just
初
get the
対
item.
面の人に対しておかしいだなんて貴族、それよりもどうその礼儀のことと関係してるんだ。でもその人は礼儀なるほど、あの人はそういう人なの。
Naruhodo.
でも
The
どうして
one
彼
word
の
I
調
know.
査を
Need 150 AV
なる
ones.
ほど。
Yeah, well, I don't just need
本
AV
当
ones.
にいい
I
度
need
胸。
Warsong Gulch ones and also Arathi Basin ones too.
それに
So
ま
it's
だ
fine.
容疑の段階だからな。モンド城の人々にはローレンス家は悪者。
Some clapping classic. I didn't really clap
君も
classic.
そ
I
んな
mean,
風に
I
考えていたのね。
I wish I would have done Max more, sure,
面白い
but
わ。
like I just didn't
初対
really
面の人に
want to
3回
invest
もこん
time
な感情を
into it.
抱くなんて。
There's
こ
just
んなに
so
面白い
so
人と
much
会っ
that
た
you
の
had
は
to do.
久しぶりよ。私を訪ねたのはローレンス家の礼儀作法を学んで。問題ないわ。今からでも教えてあげる。とりあえずモンド城へ戻りましょう。人がいる。それとこれとは別よ。代理団長の依頼。
I have no idea what this is as a character.
目には持ってるみたいだけど。
You're talking way too much. Can't listen to the Asmongold.
なんだかよく
Doing
わ
things.
からないな。
I missed the best part already.
おかしい人には散々会ったことあるし。
Big wins, boys. Big wins, big moves, big
I
plays.
guess I can talk about the basic conduct of humans, you know?
Always
Always pay attention and
yeah,
make
it
sure
took
that
so
you
long, man.
respect each other.
Like it took so long to do. I was like, fuck that.
Also, you know, with that also extends it to even if they did heinous things, you shouldn't, you know, wish upon them the worst. As much as I feel like this is something, you know, very obvious, it's also very hard to do, but it's very obvious. People will sometimes forget, you know, the other side is just another human. Is
Well, TBC attunements will be similar though.
someone outside
Well, I
honking the
mean, I
horn?
have to do the TBC attunements if I want to play the game.
Huh.
And also, I don't have to. I
What?
don't have to attune to Karazhan every single
feel
week.
like it's
I just do
just,
it once and
you
I'm
know,
done.
No, that's the in-game, alright. Damn. I feel like it's just the basic conduct of humans. Just never doing it. We always seem to forget. And at the end of the day, you know, you yourself decide how you start up a friendship or a connection with a person.
Why'd you have
As in
to
co-
attune
you
to
know,
Kara once a week?
As an
Well, I
antagonist
mean,
or
like
not.
compared to like the prep,
course.
like raid prep to Nax
You know,
versus like attunements and.
I will not control the emotions of
Yeah.
other people if they feel like
That's
if
all
they
I
feel
was
like they
trying
need to
say.
do or they need to say this. then you know it is how it is. I just feel like it's just, you know, always make sure that you treat everyone
Alright.
with,
Oh, that's
you know,
true.
how you expect to be treated.
Alright, let's do it, boys.
And that's all.
Fight
He's
to the last
doing-
man.
He's doing
Here
war
they are.
for war effort thingies. I don't know what's this
no.
thing called right now.
Oh no.
Asmongold just sitting there.
Oh my
Just
god.
the
this
balanced
guy's got a
version of
fucking
Horde
mana
versus Alliance.
regeneration elixir.
Oh, he's
it's
gonna be
over,
screwed.
guys.
So
Slay them all.
まだそのことを言っているの？君たちって
Let's just go
私
down there and
安
fight
心して恨みを覚えておくのとそれを返すのと復讐も気分次第
maybe there's just a conduction of calling everything then.
I can't
私
see
は心
anything.
の中に山ほどの恨み
I
つら
can't
みを
see
抱えてい
anything.
るわ君たちの番はいつにな
That was an insane land hands, man. Like that was actually the most godly land hands I've ever seen in my entire life.
私の手柄を横取りしたり
Like, I
悪者
can't
扱い
see
したりおじを
anything,
疑ったりそんなに心配し
Jesus
ないでちょう
Christ, this
だ
is
い
bad.
少なくとも調査の一件では何もしないから私はそこら辺に関する工夫を
Holy
しっかり
fuck.
できているつもり
True, true. Always defend yourself whenever you get attacked by a claim. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You have the right to at least tell
Wow.
the truth or the side of yours, because more often than not, the bias upon, you know,
So annoying.
the first one to throw the ball, to throw the rock is very strong.
Like it's actually like so annoying
も
to
し
play
おじが
against.
何もや
Oh
って
my
いないのな
god.
ら逆にもし本当に何かをやっているのなら罰を受けて当然これが
Fog,
私
yeah,
の
we
考
just
え
barely beat him.
納得した
They're gonna be able to come back
じゃあ
pretty
授業に
fast, and
戻
we're
るわ
not gonna
ね
have people to stop them,
貴
so
族
we're
ま
gonna
ずは
die
言葉
here.
遣いから日常生
Yeah,
活で
see,
あろ
they're
うとも
coming back.
貴族は
She's
独
not
特
They
な
talk
話し
with
方をする
different words.
その独特
We
な
don't
こ
have our
とこの恨
paladin.
み
He's like probably all the way over here. Yeah, we're fucked.
No.
全然違うわ
We
それ
are
におか
fucked.
お前の真似をしたんだぞまさかだって
This
面
game
倒
makes
じゃ
the
ない
roof
どれ
invisible
ほど
sometimes.
面倒
Yeah,
かは
this is just like
今
it's
から
so
やるお
hard
手
to
本
play against, man.
そうね友達と挨拶する時の場面をやるわね
I can auto him through the wall.
親愛なる友よ夜明けの朝露とともに良い一日を夜明けの
He's fighting.
Let's try, bitch.
He's fighting.
Got him, dude. Yeah, come on, come kill me. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do it. Do whatever you want. Go for it. You lose.
Did he win? Really? Damn.
これは朝友達に会
You
った
got
時に使う
slammed
言
by
葉よ
9 people. Jesus.
それも身分が
Too
同
many.
じくらいの相手に
He's
ね
mad he lost his mana
朝
elixir.
露
Yeah,
とは
true.
珍しくないものつまり
Shit
友情
ass
は価値で
game.
測るべきではないという意
He
味
made
よ
another rogue.
また互いの交友は淡き水のようにという意味も含まれているわ
What's my honor now?
Damn.
I've already gained
もっと気を
400
つける
honor.
べきなのはこの言葉を親友に
Like I haven't even won the game. I've gained 400 honor.
確かに親愛なる友だけどそうねこう言ったらわかるかしらこの言葉は貴族はメンツを重んずるもの普通の友達に仲が良くも悪くもない友達と明言してしまうより親愛なる友だから本当に仲のいい友達に親愛なる友なんて
So
言
how
葉を
much
使
did
っ
I
た
get out of
ら
that total?
わざと疎外感を出しているのかと勘違いされる
What
わ
can I do for you?
これはまだ第一
So
歩
is
よ
it 37?
ストップストップ誰か
Be
他の
good.
人を
What was I at?
それは分かったいいわよ私についてきなさい
37,977. So I gained less than 200.
Talk to the locals. Hey, no man. What up,
Oh
dude?
boy.
あんたローレンス家のエウラだろなんか嫌な予感がするんだが
せわしき者よしばし立ち
This
止ま
is
る
gonna
の
be
よ
a real grind.
高貴なるローレンス家から大切な話がある
Ah,
It's
yes.
gonna take a
That's how you make
while to
friends.
get
厳粛にひざまずきなんだっけあ
Cue
そうだっ
another
た
one.
最上位の誠意をもってして貴族の栄光を受け入れよ
My god, the shots.
突然意味のわからないことを
Who
言
do
い
you
出し
want, or I'm
待って
underestimating what
こ
you'll
ういう
play?
状況になった時争いが起きた時一
Like
族
if
の
I
名
just
声と
play
尊
for a
厳
few
を最優
hours
先
every
そう
day,
そうこれだわ
I'll get to at least like 60k.
庶民としてモンドに生を賜
Yeah,
った
and
こ
then
と
I can buy
敬
pretty
意を
much
払うべき
everything.
だがいかに
And
し
I
て
can
そ
just
のよう
farm
な
out
さ
the
れ
rest
事
of
を
them.
Ah, yes, you learned well.
And I'll do BGs at
ロー
72.
レンスが支
So
配
like
す
I'm
る時
not
代
gonna
は
do
もう終わっ
BGs.
たんだ何をしようと知ったことじゃないだとしてもだ 何
You have a
をし
good
よう
voice
と
for
俺は
being a,
関わり
you
合い
know,
たくない
Well, I mean, here's
very,
the thing,
ロー
right?
レン
Is
ス家
odd
の
that
人
character.
間にはそ
I
れと
think
一
it,
つ
it's
忠
all
告
it
だ
all comes down to this.
モンドにいるのならローレンス家
It
の人
should
間には
be
あまり
the
近づかない方
game
がいい
should be the same as they were. I don't want to see them changing reward values.
I can agree to that.
Like that's how I feel. I don't want to see them changing values and like reprogramming the game.
When it comes to
because people
making
wanna
a
get gear
remake of a
faster. Like
game,
that's
I
literally
feel like it's
retail.
very important to remake it
I mean, really, yeah,
like right.
他に
Do
用がない
whatever
な
is
ら
not
Like they're,
feeling
they're
good,
reprogramming
you know,
the game to
and
get
not
them
changing
to
anything that did
feel
feel good.
fun.
For example, if we were to if we were to remake Resident Evil 4, who is, you know, very
There's no
very
pre-patch in
prominent
6
game,
weeks. We got 13 days.
you can make it more dynamic,
I mean, the idea.
but the clunkiness
I
and, you know, the
don't
camera
think,
angle
I've said this like 5
for
times,
where it
right?
was,
Like I don't
it-
think that you should
you know,
expect
it helps the fact that it was,
to like honor Cap
you know, that it
out
was
and
very
get
very
full
spooky,
gear
very slow and spooky,
in the
very
first,
clunky.
like,
It
2
made it
weeks,
spooky for me at least.
right? I mean, like
So I would say
that's not
personally that
just because
the
Blizzard
camera angle
made
should
those
never
items
change.
available doesn't mean that
Sorry.
you're supposed
Yeah.
to get them before Burning Crusade.
It's like changing something like inventory system, making it a bit more quicker, or, you know, there's an auto sort button, or, you know, the weapons, you know, how they look, how everything looks, the weapons, you know, many more weapons if you wanted to, just more things to try out, textures and stuff, like everything like this you could change, but the overall feel of the game should never change. How it is more of a, you know, it is an action-oriented Resident Evil, but it is also still a middle ground. Action while also being a bit spooky, at least at the beginning. And until you get to Regenerados. Regenerados are probably one of the best moments for Resident Evil 4. The first introduction is very well done. So yeah, that's what I believe. Resident Evil 5 is complete action, so completely different. So it should never be yearning to be 5. It should just yearn to be 4 still.
11th grade.
But
So
that
it's
also
really
means
kind
that I
of hard for me
do
to go
want
back and,
changes.
like, think,
I just
how much
want
did I play
enough
back then?
changes
It's like, I
where
think,
you feel
know,
like it's
what
a
I'd
new game.
imagine is like I played like all day, every day I could, right?
Oh.
But like, was that really true? I don't know.
ローレンスだからって大丈夫だいたい予想はしてたから
Yeah, Lars, you know, you maybe you should try and talk with other people like they talk with other people, and that's easier done.
You get more honor at 70. Yeah, I
憔
think
悴
that's
するも
probably
の
true.
よ高貴なるローレンス
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
厳粛にひざまずき最上位の誠意をあれどうして反応がないの礼儀作法ではこれを言った後に相手があそうだ極力相手を見つめることはせず地位の差を強調する
Zach,
んだ
I'm killing one more than I'm going to
まあ
bed,
いいわ
dude.
面倒だし膝をつかなくても
I'm
結
killing
構
one
よ
more than I'm going to
この
bed.
まま次の言葉を言うから
俺に構うな喧嘩でも売ってんの
That's
か
why I won't play TBC. People are already freaking out about min-maxing shit. No, here's the thing, right? Is that like
What? Maybe you should just stop
people
that.
are always gonna
どう
want
や
to
らこち
get
らの言葉に
the
耳を貸
best
す気はないみ
gear
たい
as fast as
一人であれこ
possible.
れ言っても意味はないでも
The dude that
私
got
に
them
無
the
礼を
hotfix
働いた
honor
こと
farmed out
忘れない
75k and bought all the
Sure,
gear
sure.
and complained. Oh, you're right. That's actually complete. That changes
The art
it
of
entirely.
remaking a game
You know what?
is very
Now they should
difficult
just give
indeed.
out all the high warlord gear to every player for free because one person got it. They should change the entire game for one guy. That's very true.
It's also a good point.
I didn't. Now that you gave me that bit of information,
At the end
it
of the day,
completely changes everything.
whatever points I'd make upon how to remake a game, it is a personal thing that I find well. So it's hard to remaster a
It's
game, but
just
the general consensus
insane,
of
man.
remastering a game, at least in my eyes, is to, you know, not only give it better
Thank
textures, but to
you.
make it feel, you know, it came out of 2020. Like it just the whole
sucks,
improved.
yeah.
The game's the same, but it's completely improved.
Not gonna lie, boosters getting gear.
That is, I
gonna start
think, the
going
better
down.
standard to go
I mean,
with.
if they made the
Most of
boosted
the
characters naked, I wouldn't
remasters
give a
are
fuck.
just better textures and
I
that's
don't care
all.
about the levels,
Very
not the gear.
boring.
キンクなるものよ
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
もうやめてくれさっきまでのも全部聞こえてたよ無駄まったくこんな雰囲気だってのにまだ気づかないのか
落ち着いて
もちろん彼女がセピロス騎士なのは知ってる騎士団も見誤ること
Yeah,
はな
yeah,
いだろ
yeah. Of course, 200 years and counting up. You still
Why you
are
so
very
grumpy?
salty about it. Sure, man.
Why are you typing that over and over? Why do I sound grumpy and tired?
I suppose, you know, now it's grounded.
Jesus, I'm not even like. Look, you guys want an update of what it looks like? Where is it?
君の言うことも、でもこのような扱いを受けたこと忘れないから。
なんだやるってのか言っておくが腕っぷしじゃ勝てなくても下に報告することができるからな。
I'm not grumpy.
Hey, everyone should just
I'm
take a
just
step
chilling,
back.
man. I'm just fucking chilling.
You are very
I'm relaxing back in my chair, chilling, sitting around.
like
doing
Randall
what I wanna do.
is a very considerate person. The conduction he did here just now, amazing.
そう、
You're too
分かっ
used
た
to
わ。
watching
彼のことは放っ
YouTubers
て
that
お
do
いてい
jump
きまし
cuts
ょう。
every 3 seconds, getting you hyped up to buy their merch. Show out, bro.
Merch. I
don't even
wonder.
act like that on my mainstream.
I wonder
What
how
do you
Zach
mean?
Raw looks when he's, you know, off camera.
It's nuts.
Probably looks very slouched, very slayed back, very chill. So, very chill indeed. So, yeah. Alright. So, very much so, very
Did
much
Blizzard
so.
ever give you Gen Rock?
Goodbye,
Yeah, I'll
Randall.
probably eventually get it from like the
い
troll
つものことよ。
archaeology.
他は当たりましょう。
I don't know how long, but it'll happen eventually. Alright,
お手本を見せるとか言ったオイラが悪
38, 188.
かったよ。仕方ないのよ。有名な悪者だもの。3歳の子供だってあの話を知っている
Doesn't
くらいなんだ
exactly
から
know what I'm saying.
当た
I'm
りがきつい
starting
の
to
と違うよ。
sympathize with you, if not for your conduction. Or your choice of words, rather.
心配しないで。普段はセ
I
ピロ
think
ス
it
騎士
makes
とし
them
て
feel
扱われているか
smart
ら
to think that
多
they
少
can
なりとも
understand
会
the
話はでき
difference
ているわ。
between.
Uh-oh.
They create some
Okay.
difference in
今
their
日は貴
mind,
族
and
の話し
like,
方
yeah,
をし
I'm
たから
smart because
あん
I
な反
can.
応になったんでしょ。
I know what's going
私
on,
を
you
信じ
know.
て本当に大丈夫だから。
I think that's what it is.
I missed the conversation again.
What about the precedent they're setting by doing this?
過ちを犯した人はこうな
What
るのが定
precedent
め。
do you think they're setting,
罪人は罰せられるのがこ
Blakey?
の
Like,
世
what
の
what
通り。
precedent are they setting here?
大きな過ちを
I'm
犯して
actually curious
償
what
い
you
きれ
think.
ない場合は
You think it is?
Huh.
You gonna say could we gain the armor first before weapons? I mean, you made the mistake of even giving a fuck to begin with, man. You should have just saved the honor.
Alright.
街と風には記憶があるの。身をもって償った一族の
Why
先祖
am I
たちと
why
比
am I
べたら
slowed?
日常生活を
Are
送る資
people
格がある
ruining my
私
game
は
experience by
そう
CCing
言わ
my
れると
character?
そうね。
Oh, that's a
この
use
こと
of
が
Andy.
しっ
You
かり
were
起きた。
fucking
こ
deleted.
れ以上の詮索でも
Fuck you out
さ
of
っき
here.
のやりとりじゃあまり勉強には。いいよ。そうだよな。
Why is Mr. Cat attacking me?
I'm still not too sure about
I'm gonna kill
too
the
sure I
pet.
can do this.
本番の時に
I'm killing the
もう
pet.
これ以上
Oh, he's gonna take it back. Nope.
分かったのならいいわ。言葉
Yeah,
作
you
り
like
に
that,
関して
huh?
は
You little
貴
fucking
族の
bitch.
美学に依存するもの。つまり感性に依存
Yeah.
だね。
I wish I could enjoy games like he does. Or at least
Yeah,
World of Warcraft.
bitch.
There's not really a game I
The
enjoy the
willingness to
most.
change TBC. I
This
made
game
no
is fine.
所作に関
changes.
しては
But I always
We
feel
got
the
referenced
looming
really
presence of
quickly
money.
and decided to do a
そ
similar
こ
nerf.
のがあるから。
Come with
So
me to
let me get this
Dragonspine.
straight.
It's cold there.
So let's say that, let's go ahead and use your analogy, okay? Let's say that you're able to get, instead of whenever you do Shattered Halls, instead of getting 100 rep with Honor Hold, you get, sorry, like 10 rep, you get 100 rep. So you just immediately get exalted in like 2 runs. Okay?
I have 26, I
So-
get 60, I get...
That so like, let's say that happens,
Give me a second.
and they change it back to the correct value.
I can get another 30.
What
not a
what do you
problem.
think? What bad precedent does that set in your mind?
Ooh.
Yeah, what bad precedent does that mean to you?
貴族の所作を学ぶためにはその中、例えばここから先を見ると、もしきちんと教養のある貴族、それはもう貴族じゃなくて、でもこれなら 貴族の言葉遣いを学ぶときでは始めましょう。優雅さを保つことに専念してね。
Well, at least we're ahead on this
Okay.
one. The LFG tool in TBCC. Yeah, I heard it. Is this Mr. Cat? Kill the cat.
My conduction
Oh, I was
is
gonna
so
kill it again.
graceful. Please don't shoot me.
Which TBC weapon do you see yourself getting first? Probably just Deep Thunder. Like, realistically, I'm probably just gonna get Deep Thunder.
I didn't see it.
大丈夫。スタート地点に戻ってもう一度準備しましょう。
Oh, we got 42 honor points from Gal. Nice.
はじめは優雅さを
So.
Favorite piece of gear or ability in all TC? My favorite piece of gear in all TBC? I don't know, maybe like Berserker's Call from ZA. Maybe probably Cataclysm's Edge. Warglaves, I don't know. It's hard to say. Visually, yeah, Bulwark of Azeroth could be it. Did they even test a pre-patch? No, they didn't test a pre-patch at all, man.
What?
Like, Blizzard doesn't test shit.
上出来じゃない。私の予想よりず
Like, they don't fucking do, they don't give a fuck.
オイラたちも立派な貴族になれたん
Like,
だ
how do you think Corruptions went live the way they did in 8.3? I'll tell you how. They didn't test it. Let's go down here and kill these guys.
Yeah, those aspects I
These guys
think are
already
not
almost
fun.
half, so I want to go kill them now.
Whatever
Get away.
Asmongold does is extremely fun. It's just a side niche. The true game
him.
is not fun,
Fuck, I'm
but what he
stunned. That's
does is
really
very
bad.
fun. And I suppose I should strive to find something
Okay,
like
we're
that as
getting
well.
smoked out
ま
right
だ
here.
始まりに過ぎないわ。さっき経験したのは
Oh, I interpret this thing as way too different or way too...
あんな風
Ah,
に立ち止まって
he's
分析
pumping
する
up,
機会
man.
なんてない。
Killing one, killing
Actually, you know
two.
what? I'm gonna kill your pet first. Kill your pet.
He killed his
That's
pet.
what you get. Yeah, did you like that, huh?
Damn.
That's what you get for sending that bitch after me over and over. Don't try and heal him again. I'm sick of seeing those heals, man. I'm about to fucking kill this guy. Where's this stupid fucking druid? Is it this guy?
見て、前方激しい戦いの中で冷静に戦況を判断してこそ、新小さい頃から家
Kill
族
these
さ、
guys.
行きま
Make
しょ
sure
う
we。kill that
Sure,
guy.
man.
Okay.
Her attacking sure is very graceful.
We gotta line of sight these guys.
Hey,
Oh, mace stun.
この地脈沈
You
石
love to see
ね、
it.
起動して。吹き飛ばされたり凍らされたりしないでね。
These guys are just gonna
優
spam
雅
heal
じゃ
each
なくな
other.
るから。
I don't wanna try to kill him. We only need to win this one. There we go. It's over. Come here, little dick boy. Come here, you little dick boy. Come here, you little dick boy. You want to get fucking mad? Oh yeah, dude. Oh. Kill it again. Kill pet again. All right, let's kill this guy. Oh, they got a lot of people. They got a lot of people. All right, I gotta help my paladin.
これが運命です。
Uh-oh.
ain't too hard if you
Uh-oh.
cheating. Ain't too
Can't
hard
do
if
much
you
here.
cheating.
All right, popping CDs.
やったわ
Oh,
ね。
Got him. That
two
one's
against.
dead.
Ooh, there goes one.
Okay, that guy's dead.
There goes
Nice.
the second one. The
Got
healers are
druid.
getting focused now. Impressive
Should've
work,
done
Zach. Impressive
Got it. Got
work.
it. He's dead.
雪山という環
Alright,
境
what
下
up,
で
bro?
も思い通りに
Where's your
行動できるなん
boyfriend?
て
What up,
またこれ
bitch?
ならもう私から
What
教
up,
えられる
bitch? Where's your pet?
I like you.
私が褒めたの
I
は
killed both your pets. I killed your pet druid and your pet and your actual fucking pet. Suck my
君たち
dick.
そこら
I
私
don't
の
care
教え
about
を
you.
ちゃんと
Kill
聞
me.
いて
I
なかっ
don't
たん
give
じゃ
a
ない
fuck.
そうだ
He's just trying to. He's just
どん
trying
な
to
理由であ
teleport
れ
me over to the right
私の
place.
話を聞く
I wanted to get teleported over there. I
これを
wanted
飲
him
み
to
な
kill
なん
me.
だこれ違うわ凍え死にそうなんでしょ
What a dumb little bitch.
だからこそこんな心配をしているんじゃない
What a
私
stupid
が
little
復讐する
bitch.
前に凍えだから小さいの
Was that
死なな
Zico?
いでよね
I don't know. Was it? Blood wizard. No, Zico's black wizard,
や
isn't
っぱ
he?
り変な人だぞ復讐のた
Oh,
めにした
sure.
だ
Let
け
me
よ
just take care
さ
of
て
that.
そろそろモンドに戻りましょう所作の特訓も終わっていい考えがあるの鹿狩りの
Okay, lass.
Easy GG. That's an easy GG right
Hey,
there.
Asmongold,
easy GG.
19 kills. Easy clap, man.
So I'm
Your
getting like
voice is way
200
too
each
high. I
win,
really like
basically.
the other Mona voice. Or is it Amber?
Less than
Fuck,
200.
way behind. Yep. Establishing
Plus
shot.
224.
Okay.
That was the math, yeah. Oh yeah. 224. Damn, that sucks. That's actually so bad. I don't remember it being that bad, man.
You buy him a blade. Encased in
That's
another
a lot of
blade.
games I'm gonna have to play. That's a lot of games. You just win one game, then you win the next game. I'll hit it, man. I'll hit
Breathe in the
75.
World of Warcraft atmosphere.
Even if I don't, like, I don't even, like, if I don't hit it, who cares?
Just for the...
Like, they're not even releasing the arena gear as soon as BC comes out. So
Oh,
I'll have time to get, like,
I
want
want
to
to hear this
70,
in...
you get more honor period.
I want to
at
hear
70.
this one in German.
So there's no reason really to
Bratnes
stress
Fleisch
out
mit
about it.
Sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, huh?
はいわかりました
It is
ただ
what it
準
is.
備に少し時間がかかりますのでちょっと待ってこの満足サラダってアンバーが注文したの違いますよ彼女が野菜を注文していなかったので
Marks.
私から注文していないのに勝手に出すなんて
They play 8 to 9 hours a day.
このこと
No,
は
it's
忘
not
れない
that
か
big
ら
of a deal. You just do it once, it's over.
こんなことまで
Alright,
覚
I'm
え
gonna
て
chill
おく
for a
のか
little bit,
よ
and then I'm gonna
初
log
めて
off.
会ったわけじゃないんですし私がこういう人なのは分かってますよねでは私は漬け野菜肉炒めをまったくさらったらいつかまとめて生産してあげるわでもなんで漬け野菜肉炒めを手土産にしたんだ
No one tries. What the heck? Bratnes Fleisch mit Sauerkraut. Easy.
鹿狩りの裏メニューなのよおじみたいに常連客だけが知っているの旧貴族にふさわしい味わいをしているわでも漬け野菜は酸味が強いから苦手な人も多くてだんだんと誰も注文しなく
Train
なっ
always
てね
makes the best
Hey.
tweets.
Shut up. Sauerkraut's good.
This is what Trainx tweeted on Twitter. Twitter and Reddit are filled with a bunch of unsuccessful, miserable, lazy losers of society using the little power they have to hold content creators
not
accountable
vengeance.
for stupid made-up shit
You add
to help them
an
rationalize and
English
cope with
term
their
in a
own shit
German
life.
dish? No.
That's
Completely
a
English.
true and that's a
I mean,
real.
if it's a mix, then you can do it.
私と好みが
No,
全然違う
that's
の
a
ね
true.
意外だわでも
Don't
思わぬとこ
QAB
ろで復
anytime?
讐当然よ
I
彼
don't
女
care.
みたいに誰にでも借りを作るその冗談
Thank you.
普段な
Yeah,
ら大丈
people
夫だ
can
けど
trade me gold
誤
if they
解さ
want
れる
right
から
now.
栄養基地の前ではやめてよ
Let me actually
エ
go
ウ
over
ラ
a
は
little
いつも
closer so that it's
恨みや
easier for them
復
to
讐
do
や
that.
ら言ってる気にしているわよはっきりと覚えてい
Name
る
one
わ
example.
もう
I
ハ
mean,
ンバー
like,
ったら本当
how
に
about the example of people
Alright,
trying
dude.
to,
Low blow.
fucking, like, people that are, like, harassing Schlatt for, like, a YouTube
小
thumbnail,
さいの
or,
だったら
people that
当然
were
知らないはずよ
trying to harass Carl Jacobs because he was on Ice Poseidon's stream
そん
5
な
years
深刻な
ago.
感じにならない
I mean, I don't know. I think those are two pretty good examples.
お腹
The disguised toast shit. I mean, there's so many of them.
大丈夫よ
Like 99% of like internet controversies are fucking stupid.
Oh, there. Huh.
The only exceptions
Oh,
are when the
controversies.
person actually is breaking the
Extremely
law.
stupid.
そんな隙をさらに見せるわけにはいかないさて
My god, people talk about so many stupid things and then everything turns out to be wrong. And people are still mad, even if you prove
Sinatra
that they are
stuff, right, for
wrong.
example.
They will die on the hill they die on the hill that doesn't
Like
exist.
Sinatra, was getting accused of rape.
エウラも一緒に来
What's
る
up,
のかと
bro?
思ったぞ
What? Frank Sinatra.
He ran away from me as soon as I opened trade with him.
What's Alright. Yeah,
But things like
Sinatra.
that, literally, as the
Allegations
internet
after
falls
he's
down,
dead. Not even the dead can rest
I don't
peacefully.
really know what that means.
Knowing that his music was amazing and shaped the whole world. But nah, we gotta
I think
complain.
it's necessary when it's against the law. You apply no moral weight to anything unless it's illegal. I think 99% of the things that people apply moral weight to are completely imbalanced. I think the
それは少し
Mhm.
都合が
relative,
悪いかな
like the suffering they want to put a person through versus the person's actions is completely imbalanced. And I think that people take it way too far, way too fast. And it's not about justice. It's not about teaching this person or educating them. It's about harassing them and bullying them into submission.
Hey, if I can use a perfect analogy, is that a person tries to tell you that the
Every
dog
single
bites
time.
you, but the dog never bit you. Yeah.
Moral weight to people they don't know. Yeah, it's like you don't even know what's
テイ
happening.
クアウトを忘れないでね。私も引き続き野外調査をしてくる。
Hey,
またね。
outbreak da.
君たち
Whenever I
の
watch your stream, you're thinking boosted or QQ about something when you're actually good, man. Never,
All those
man.
people you have no pants.
I'm never good at the
Braten
game.
sauerkraut. Yes, thank you very much.
But you're sitting here watching me tuning in every day.
味が落ちないよう
Which is why
熱いうち
people
に
keep
食べること
boosting
をお
me, is
すすめ
because
し
I'm
ます
so popular because of people
も
like
し
you.
エウルワさんに何か
This overdeveloped sense of vigilante justice to get addicted to feeling righteous? Well, it's because they need the purpose in their life,
モンド
because
の
they
人
have
にとって
nothing
は
else
一度でもこの
to
性を
feel
認
good
識して
about
ですので
themselves
エウルワ
for.
さんが何をしようと
There's
も
like
有
no
罪
other
になり
redeeming
と
qualities
って
about
も
them.
無意味なのです
So the one thing that they can do is harass some content creator into making an apology from a tweet from 7 years ago.
大勢の人が彼女
That's,
の
you
遊覧
know,
的一方でローレンス
that's
家
the
の方からも
extent of
一
like
族の人たちが騎士
their
団へと
power.
はいエウルワさんがどれ幸いにも大団長ファルカさん
Varka.
そして一般人から見ればし
Streamers
か
seem
し
to be gods to get
彼
views.
女はただ黙々と騎士の
It's
責務
somebody
を
who
全う
probably
し
isn't very
人々
popular
を
on
助け
Twitch
てい
and
ま
they've
す
tried streaming before.
エウルワさんは
So
みん
they
なから理解と関心を得るべき人だと思います
uh
少なくとも
they're trying that they don't
Hey,
understand why nobody watches them, even though they think they're good at the
そ
game.
れは良かったでは
Aye.
That's why.
Well packaged gebratenes Fleisch mit Sauerkraut. A simple dish. Carries a heavy meaning, or something along those lines. A serving of gebratenes Fleisch mit Sauerkraut that has already been packed. Curious smell wafts from within. You feared that this is a hidden menu item that the long-time patrons know of, and that the hoi polloi cannot appreciate its flair fair enough.
It's a weird
You
ass
think.
noise.
Holy poly, hoi poly. Roly polies, man. Had to Springwell look for Schubert's living there. What's he doing over there? Oh. What's happening? He's chilling.
Legend cheers for game plan. WoW is not something you do. Yeah, that's true. Is that an imp or a gimp? The same thing, right? It's the same thing. It's been entertaining. Yeah. It's just what people tell themselves. They try to like say something like that because they're not happy that people don't give a shit about that stuff.
Yo,
I feel like they
afterwards
only
I'm just gonna
cancel you
do
if you allow
a
yourself to be
tag
cancelled.
game and just
Nah,
let
that's
myself
true.
be taken. Getting some coins and moving
The only
on
time
from
you
there.
can ever really get cancelled is if you get
Let's see
taken
how
off
much
the
I need.
platform. There's like some exceptions, right? Like Athene and like Boogie. But the reason why Athene and Boogie got cancelled is because they stopped making the content that people like to see.
Athene's
That's
also
why.
a very tough.
Like if Athene came back tomorrow and started doing the best paladin in the world videos again, everybody would still watch them. There'd be some people that wouldn't like them, sure. But people would still come back and watch them.
Okay,
Didn't
standing
that
up.
Boogie get cancelled? What did he actually do? People don't like the fact that Boogie... So basically a lot of people like
My
made
will of
like a
resistance.
parasocial
No.
relationship with Boogie in like the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And then they thought Boogie was a super wholesome, nice guy. And the truth is, he was just an edgy nerd that played Magic the Gathering, just like most other people. And like that realization upset them a lot.
I
And then
refined
there
my
was also
conduct
a
with some
few,
instructions in the classics.
You know, comments that he would make, like he said that like Nazis weren't as bad as people who are harassing him.
Naruto.
Just a few other, just like really just like dumb comments, but nothing that's actually bad. Like like for example, like he Is there real power people have? Yeah, yeah.
I would
exactly.
eat it. Guess I'm not old. Yeah. Vitriol and vengeance
Like
upon
90% of
humans
things like,
last
oh,
a lot
he
longer than
lies
you
to
would
his viewers. Like,
suspect.
who cares?
So many people just want things to be
Viewers aren't entitled
cancelled.
to know about your life. The reason why they care about that is they're trying to build a parasocial relationship with you.
Parasocial relationship. That is the word, man. That's why you intrude in people's lives. Parasocial. Or
The boxing boogie in prison for it?
I can understand
Randomly
liking a
shooting
person.
gun as a warning shot, which is illegal in the air. It was really stupid.
I
of him
can't
doing
talk
that.
over that.
I think that's probably one of the worst things he has done, honestly. People mad he kept giving up on losing weight. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. There are people who are.
Boogie said a lot of shit that crosses the line of morality. Yeah, well, your line of
Okay, yeah.
morality.
My topic has
My
nothing to do
opinion
with
of
what
it
they
is,
talk
like,
about
I don't
right
even
now.
really care about
Pretty-
that stuff that he
pretty
said.
tough,
Like,
man.
I've seen what he said before. It's just
Lawrence
stupid.
family has a grand
Like,
scheme.
I mean, it's nothing really worse than what you'd see from, you know, any other edgy boy on the internet. The reason why they're mad about it is because Boogie's saying it. Like, if I had said the exact same thing, people probably wouldn't even give a shit.
Okay, that's I think the end. No,
We've I thought shadow ban happening for years. Yeah, yeah.
probably not.
So Boogie has obvious mental stability, gives himself access to a gun, should be in prison. I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know what is, like, obvious mental instability. I'm not a doctor, you're not either. I think let's let a doctor make that decision, not me.
Yep.
I don't want to do that.
Biased judgment always leads to prejudice.
There are some uncancelable people like Darkside Phil.
I'll
Well,
say
didn't he
you
just, like,
can
recently get
infer
banned
what
from
is
Twitch?
wrong, but you
It's
should never.
pretty good
draw the
timing for that
conclusion.
example.
It's good to just keep being nice, courtesy,
That
just
takes
what
everything too
Eula
far. Yeah, that's the problem,
tries
right?
to teach us.
The whole
We
buy
get
me a Tesla
$2
ordeal, it seemed to be like
and,
Boogie was just
you know,
trolling people, but
blue
folks always
crystal.
lost their mind
Sure.
over that. That's because Boogie, as I said, like you never, like unless you are a nice guy, you should never try to pretend to be a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like never pretend to be a nice guy if you're not. Why is shooting in the air is a warning shot a crime? Because it can hit. Yeah, it's because it can hit somebody. Like, you know, bullet goes up, it goes down.
Alright, Schubert boy.
It's illegal shit in the dirt. No, I've actually heard that firing a warning shot is illegal, period. I mean, obviously, I think that, like, if he went to court for it, there would be a lower chance that a jury would find him guilty if he shot it into the ground versus in the air. But, I mean, it's not different in there. Free ricochets in the ground still illegal to do? Yeah. I mean, in general, like, I just don't fire warning shots. I mean, it's not really that complicated.
Hey, you have a name. Hey, beautiful.
準備万端なのになんだか嫌な予感が
Like, you could have shot the person, which isn't a crime. Shooting in the air, which unlikely,
We'll
but
talk
someone
to the
else
man.
is a crime. Well, yeah, because the person is the person is putting Boogie at risk, and the other random person that gets hit by a stray bullet isn't. I mean, it makes sense, really. I mean, it's funny to think of, but it definitely makes sense.
待ったこの者たちは
話す必要はないと私が連れてきた。客人に決まっているだ。
しかしこのことは機密
Listen,
中
your
の機
grandmas
密
are
貴
fucked
族
up.
の行いを貴
I
様
don't
が
know,
指
bro. I
図する
actually
な。
agree with
偉
him.
そうに
I think if somebody comes to your house to harass you and you kill them,
You guys wear masks as
shouldn't have
well,
done
come
it.
on.
Don't show up to people's house to harass them.
用がないなら
It's a very easy way to avoid getting shot
何
by
者だ
somebody.
誰かに連れてこられた
Don't show up at their house and harass them.
Oh, that's definitely a
And
thing
if you get
should never
killed,
do.
I don't care.
No entitlement in the world
Literally
can make
zero
you
sympathy.
break the rules. Alright. Alright, I'll follow you.
That's Texas, baby. That's right.
ここだよ
That's Texas.
Come on.
Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's fucking right, dude.
So. I think we're using stairs properly.
Pretty easy
But
for
I'm
some
not sure.
dude to lure another dude
Stair.
over their house.
Stair animations have never been right.
What, you mean like a
Hey,
fish?
this stink cone. You've been, you know,
Come here, come here.
following me like 10 hours ago.
I got a corn dog. Just step on my
Sorry, that's not a.
step on my grass. I'm gonna shoot you.
So let me silence the Asmongold stream for a second. Hey,
Come
yeah,
here, I got a
Fire
corn
Emblems
dog.
tomorrow. Today is my off day, and it's late, very late at night, so I want to separate those streams a little bit. This here is more of a I listen to Asmongold and talk about it a little bit. Talking about more heavy topics that I can't say in my streams because they're pretty tough. Hey. Ash lol. I remember Ash lol from Rust. if it's the if it's the same one. I know that I know Wheeline and he knows an Ash lol. Let me see. It's just of hearing. Happenstance hearing. I think it was called Ash.
You're gonna go hit somebody with a
Wait.
bat?
No. Ash Rust. Let me see.
Sure, dude.
Ash on LOL, yeah. Is that the same one, by any chance?
To fight. What do you mean?
So.
Like, couldn't somebody just say, "Oh, real men don't use weapons; they fight with their hands"? I feel like that's a much more fair argument, right? I mean,
Well, if it comes to fighting, like these days, you can't even punch a person, or they just sue you. If the other person just insults them and stuff, you know. I would like to have the good old Wild West back. If someone annoys you, like if someone is being a dick,
I don't want to shoot
you just
somebody.
punch them. No
That'd be
country,
such a
no
pain in
law
the
in the
ass.
world will protect you from that punch. For being such a rude person, I'll say. It's not even that much of a Wild West rule. It's just the don't bring everything to a court type of deal, because it's very annoying.
Yeah, I've said before, like literally never.
Because nowadays you
Never
you just
liken to
enable
shit
people
violence
into
onto
talking
somebody
trash
else
to you, and
unless
you
you
can't say
absolutely,
anything
like,
back,
you're defending
or you have to
yourself.
make you have to ignore them.
Like, I would do everything that I could to avoid that.
So yeah, just fight, just fist it out. Drop
'Cause, like,
drop
even
every
if you
weapon
don't
you have
kill
and
the
fist it
person,
out.
Then
you can hurt them and they'll sue you. It's like, it's just gonna be a problem in your life, you know what I mean? It's like just better to avoid the situation entirely.
それに最近騎士団に外の人間が加入したと聞く。モンド周辺で活発に行動してい
それはありえない。彼女は旧貴族の霊騎士団の人間はこの種のことを否定し続けてきた。
その小さいのも
This creature.
オイラがどうかしたか
もういい。私の言うことすら信
You're
用
given
で
a
きなくな
choice
っ
to
た
kill
のか。
somebody with no
誰のお
consequences.
かげでモ
If
ン
you
ドで
rape
行動で
somebody,
きてい
would
る
you
のか
do it?
忘れたわ。ローレン
I
ス家
don't
の
really
支
spend
援
a
が
whole
な
lot
け
of
れば
time thinking about
とっくに騎
hypotheticals
士団
like
に
that, to
追い
be
出され
honest
てい
with
ただろ
you.
う。
Hypotheticals
I find
are
those to be kind of,
hypotheticals
they're
are
very,
50-50 to me. Sometimes
like, theoretical, right? It's a weird way to look at things.
I sometimes am
Yeah,
used the thought of a
it's weird.
theoretical.
That's actually,
what
I
if.
don't use this word a lot. That's definitely a weird champ.
But other times
That's a
it's
weird
just
champ.
very annoying. It is a very
Just
straightforward
doesn't make
answer,
sense.
and it's baiting out a response that you already know, or the opposition already knows. And I feel like there's no need to have too many hypotheticals. If they are worthwhile talking about, then sure. And that is not that doesn't have a specific topic.
That's not
Anything
pragmatic,
theoretical.
exactly.
At least needs a little bit of a foundation in order to be differentiated, or at least well thought enough that you can start
Yeah, I heard
arguing
about
or
the
start
Berserk offer.
discussing
I
it.
did.
貴様は私の友を侮辱した。 今すぐ心から詫びてもらう。
No, at least he's nice to us. Sure.
わかった。あんたがそこまで言うならもう本題に入ろう。約束していたもん。
You simping for gold? Not really. I haven't really been begging for gold that much.
当然
I probably should beg
ど
for
れ
more
ど
gold.
れ。なんでこんなに見づらいんだ？
What does that sound drained of life? You
これは
want
私
to
が
know
長
why I'm
時間
drained
か
of
けて
life,
コツコツ
Polsky?
と書いたものだぞ。
Oh, that's
because
why I
I've
was
been
looking
awake
at a
ever
wall.
それに
since
それ
8
は
a.m.
四角や丸ではない。
and it's almost 1 a.m.
まあいい。見づらいが。
That's why I'm drained of life. The reason I sound like I'm drained of life is because I am.
それとあの建物の所有権並びにこの町全体の管理権はローレンス家のものだ。
ああ、互いに利のある取引なんだ。利益の駆け引き、この情報は存分に使わせてもらう。そうだ、外交に影響を
安心しろ。このことは私とその時が来たら、私は騎士団本部の屋上から
Do you think there'll ever be a company that's led by gamers as early 2000 Blizz?
すべての市民は今一度このローレンスに屈服するのだ。
He's too much of a bait to be hated, so I like this guy.
Is there a stream tomorrow? Absolutely.
Yeah, he's way too much of a you're supposed to dislike him bait, so I'm not gonna dislike him.
How many advertised friends are gonna harass you?
最後に一つだけ忠告だ。
Probably like 0.
軽率な行動はよ。
ではこれで
There's not really like TBC is basically a
The jig is
like
up.
you don't do anything out in the open world in TBC,
そしてそ
so
の
there'd be
最
no
高
reason for somebody to go out of their way to try to like harass me and stuff like
私を
that.
騙しただ。
そういうことを盲目的に信頼する方が悪い。
長きにわたり計画してきたのに、こんなことでバレる
Yeah,
な
like
ど。
there's nothing I can do
待っていろ。
I would've keep
because like
playing the
I'll
charade.
eventually hit level 60. You know what I mean?
やはり
And
こう
or
だ
level
った。
70,
しかし
and then I'm done.
情報は確かに
Well, yeah, you have flying mounds, PvP objectives. Yeah, but let's see. Why would I do PvP objectives?
行き止まりだったは
Like,
ず。
why would I farm for the Talbot? Like,
それからシューベ
I
ルト
farmed for the Talbot back in 2007. I'm not doing that again. Fuck that.
剣に近い。
We use the stairs at
I already got
advantage.
glory before. Yeah, I already did all that. Left us formats and level boost for classic experience honor isn't. Well, what's the difference between those two things, Batman? Blizzard doesn't make any money if you get more honor, but they do if you buy a boost.
自分で歩け。
どうやら間に合ったようね。
What
確か
about
にアデ
TBC
ュイ
Glide
だ。あれ
Mouse? Yeah, hopefully I'll get
君
one.
もここにいたの？
Probably
調
won't
査は終わっ
happen,
た？
but hopefully I'll get one.
まさかこやつの礼儀作法は全部お前が教えたのか。
That's
So
what I
many-
think WoW is at a low
一族の
point.
鎖を部外者
Yeah,
に教
WoW's
えるな
not
ど
really doing that
ご
great.
ああ、そんなこともあったっけ？
And I feel the
そ
same
れ
way.
でそうしちゃいけない理由でもあるの。
お前は
おじさんがすごく力を注いでいたのは分
Well,
かっ
then
て
I'm
いる
there
わ。
for 20 times.
でもこれはやってはいけないこと。
That way more people
もちろん
want to buy it
ま
out of
だ
the
セ
store.
ピロス騎士などとたわけがいいか。今ならまだ許しをこうチャンスをやろう。そうすればお前の
ちょっと意味がわからないわ。セピロス騎士にセピロス騎士。
もう一度言う。お前はローレンス家の血が流れている貴族だ。いつ
Yeah,
で
yeah,
も
yeah.
今の今まで私がいつ怒るべきなのは一
Honor
体
nerf?
どれ
Yeah,
ほ
it
ど
was
の人
nerfed
に
by
迷惑をかける
90%.
か。そしてこの
You
こ
get
とを鎮める
1/10
た
of
め
what you were
に
getting before.
私がどれほどの人から
私に説教しよう。
そうよ、説教しているの。私はおじさんが言っていた栄光の時代を経験したことが
Why? It was
そ
bugged.
れでも物事の良し悪しを判断するローレンス家は絶対におじさんが考えているようには
What
な
a
らない。
grand display.
なんて
You're
お
just
ぞま
gonna
し
So
cover
many establishing shots.
Yeah, I'm gonna cover the game the whole time.
That's a bit off taken,
情
yeah.
緒不安定になって
Too
る
many
が
shots from every angle possible.
何を言っているか
Even
わ
the
から
crotch
な
of
い
the
わ
dude.
彼を連れて行ってちょうだい。
Actually bugged or quote
君たち
bugged?
が動いたということは
It
もう
was
決
found to
定
be
的な証
bugged
拠を
based
掴ん
off
だという
of
ことでいい
testing
のか
and
しら。
also people comparing it to numbers from back in the day. So as far as I know, it's not bugged.
Can we have a game can we just have a good remake of a game like Final Fantasy VII, which gameplay wise is good, but story wise we don't talk about, I suppose. Just play the old one for the story. But yeah, just a very good one again. Wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind.
さっきこっそりただの自堕落な中年かと思っていたけ
If
ど
it's a bug, shouldn't it have been fixed in classic months ago?
ひとまずそ
No,
の地図を
because
回
it
収し
probably
な
had to do with the
Okay, Lars.
it had to do with the pre-patch.
We go back? Alright, this is gonna be hyper speed by the way, because we have both Gene and we have the weapon. Oh,
まだ荷が重い
oopsie.
Do you think WoW makes more money in its current microtransaction state than it did in its sub-Prime Glory days?
We're just looking at the flames,
Probably
you know?
makes more money now, because there's still a lot of people that play WoW. Yeah, I'd say it probably makes more money now.
Alright, I'll counter through it.
I mean, as long as
I'll
they're not
make
going
you-
to release the boost on release for New World, I'll play the game. But whenever they start releasing that stuff, especially if it's really early, I'm just gonna quit. I'm just like not play it anymore.
Keep the heal up. Don't want to spend
一
much.
緒に遊ぼうよ
Even with inflation, well, I don't know. I mean, there's no way.
風の神運命には逆らいません
Do you think if people stop pre-purchasing games,
So-
developers will be forced to produce better games? No, I don't think so.
わめきなさいそれ
I think a big issue is like
そら決
the
闘せよ
entire games industry for like reviewing games is completely corrupt in my opinion. Like you have like these people that have like personal relationships with developers and they're friends with each other, so they give their developer friends,
see.
people that they know, positive reviews or overlook bad things, etc. Except YouTubers? No, it's not the case. Total Biscuit
足
even
元
talked
に
about
気を
that
つ
10
逃
years
げよう
ago.
なんて思わないでよね
He talked about this literally 10 years ago about people trying to give him an Xbox to say the game was good for like a Call of Duty game or something like that. Like, guess what? It's probably a million times worse now.
So, this is how we charge the most, by the way.
Be careful, accusers
Just
being
a second.
Gamergator. I supported Gamergate back in the
ここにい
day.
でよ
I even made a
Still too
video.
high.
もう
Oh, come
I don't
on.
really support like
Oh,
harassing
come,
people
I
or
just,
anything like that.
at this
But
point.
it's very clear that like you have people that are writing
Come.
reviews and doing this stuff that are friends with the developers, and it's clearly a conflict of interest. And anybody can see that.
一緒に遊ぼうよいざやった
Actually, Friday fun. Yeah, I know. I just don't know if I'll be able to, man. Like, what if it's at night? I might be able to. Cause like during the day, I have to do stuff.
やっはい決闘せよよっ兵糧のようにうなれ
So,
やっ早くそれはい粉
Reviewers
々
on
よ
skill and knowledge to beat Mario 3 is a bigger issue. No, they do have a lot of reviewers do
決闘
have.
せよ
Don't reviewers also get blacklisted for giving
私
negative
に答える
reviews?
の
Well,
that's
it's
also
like,
true.
there are gonna be game
There is a
companies
lot
that
of
are, like,
regulation going
how
on.
many of these game companies
for,
are probably
you know,
not
making
going to do
games.
as many favors for
And
somebody who's
what-
gonna
what
review
who
their
does the
content negatively
reviews?
versus positively.
決闘せよ
Which is stupid, you know? The
There's
review
always,
should
like,
be
just little things
unbiased.
that you get,
But a lot of people
little
just,
advantages.
or a lot of big games just buy their reviews.
Streamers are the same to do promotional.
you can't say
responsive
this and
streams.
that,
I think that's
which is
completely different, Dream.
In the conduct
And the
of
reason
not
why I think
spoiling
it's
the game, but
completely
at the
different
same
is
time
because
is
they
also,
literally have hashtag ad on the screen.
yeah.
So the problem is not that streamers say good things about games whenever they're paid to do it. It's the problem is
わめ
that
きなさい
they do it whenever it's not implicitly stated or explicitly stated.
それ
So like if you have hashtag ad for a game, you're going to assume the streamer is going to say good things about the game.
Yep.
And anything that you hear after hashtag ad, you should take with a grain of salt. 100%.
わめきなさい
However,
それ
whenever
運命には
people
逆ら
are
いません
playing a game or reviewing a game and they're friends with the developer or something like that or whatever, they want to maintain a good relationship with the publisher or something like that,
Yep.
and
Pretty
they
much.
review it positively, there's no hashtag ad. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, I'm not talking about sponsorships. I'm talking about people trying to preserve relationships through positive content for each other. Right?
As long as you get the money, you know.
Does that make sense?
Then you start saying whatever you want. Nothing stops them from really saying that.
Slapping an ad makes it a-okay? Yeah, it does. Slapping an ad does make it okay. Because you know at that point it's an advertisement. Like, an advertisement for a game is not going to say the game is bad. Any normal, reasonable person would know that. Yeah, it's people that don't disclose the relationship. Exactly. Don't streamers get paid to play certain games which aren't ads? Valorant, for instance? No, they're not getting paid to play the game, but they're giving... See, like, this is an example, right? This is the last thing I want to talk about, then I have to go to bed. So, like, for example, the Valorant keys. So, if you're a, if you're a publisher, right? Let's say you're Riot, and you can choose to only give these Valorant keys to a certain amount of people. And you can give them to as many people as you want, but you choose to only give them to certain people. That gives you the power to basically pick winners in terms of streaming. So, Valorant is an example in that people will say positive things about the game, even though they're not being paid, in order to preserve that relationship, because that relationship is lucrative for them in the long term.
Is any game
even though
truly
it doesn't
one of
have
the
an
best
immediate
games ever
payoff.
made?
There's not a dollar amount.
Or did a lot
to
of people just agree because, you know, of the relationship the aforementioned?
A reviewer would review a game positively, a better chance to get another review in the future. Exactly.
It's like, I feel like
who fucking cares?
there should be a limit.
You should care.
There should
I
be
think a lot of people should care about this, unless you just want to have all of the information that you read that's supposed to be information
reviews
actually be ads or some form of biased reporting.
At the very least, it should be announced. Like, if you need to make a hashtag ad, at the very least you need to announce yourself that it is a paid ad, and that your bias.
Yeah, I don't want people to just put bullshit out there.
And at the same time, you need to ensure that there's always a fair ground of reviewers into, you know, reviewing your game, even if it's bad. You should listen to that.
Check mail before end stream.
It's not
No
more
genuine
like
integrity between
sadly it's
people
more
these days.
most of the time about money at this
No,
point.
you should never really expect to have
The more
people
money you
that,
get, you know, the richer you are. Big
you
life.
should never. No, it's just one copper who gives a shit.
Big life.
You should never really expect to have integrity with anybody. If people have the choice between money and integrity, they're going to choose money
Nighttime rebel.
9 times out of 10.
Stand alone against the wind. Nighttime rebel.
And especially whenever there's not really a lot of accountability for it.
Well, it's built very unfair. At the same time, there are people out
And
there
like,
who
I
are
think
genuine.
a lot of people are the same way. I mean,
like at the very
a
least,
lot of you
if
guys probably pick it out. 9 out of 10
ingenuity
too. Like, I do the same thing.
exists,
There's
you should
sometimes
have
you
an
wanna
even
do,
ground with you know,
something for
with
integrity, and
genuinity.
sometimes you'd rather do something for
Strange
yourself.
words, but yeah. I feel like no matter what, you should always try and balance it out.
I think some people can afford morals and some people can afford integrity, and other people can't afford to have integrity. They can't afford morals. They have to do what they need to do because that's how they survive. And I'm never really going to threaten somebody or
That
get
is the
angry at
thing.
somebody for trying to survive.
This is the thing I also said. Like, if there are despicable acts like that, even if everything is unfair, at the very least, you should try and make it even for every side
Easy to be
to
moral
exist.
whenever you aren't worried
The good
about
one
money.
and the
Yeah,
bad one.
exactly. I mean, there's plenty of people, like the people that are doing this are not, these are not terrible people. These are not like these game reviewers, right, that give like a good review that's like bullshit because their friend works there. These are not terrible people. These are just people that want to continue making money. That's it. They want to just continue to survive and be able to live their life. That's all there is to it.
My god. Do you already... I think they already found.
Devolving our lives, the world into endless lives is not worth money. That sounds a lot like somebody who doesn't have the ability to do that for money. There are oftentimes very many people who are able to have these high and mighty opinions whenever they don't actually have to make the decisions themselves.
That is true.
Or they don't have to, they don't need to make the decisions. You assume his last position? Well, I'm assuming that, like, yeah. I usually assume that, like, people are not, like, super well off to where they just don't have to worry about money at all. Yeah, I assume that. Or that they're not in a position where they have to make a decision like that. Ecthelion. Wait, is this a warrior? Is this the Ecthelion? Oh my god. He was the main tank for our guild back in Overdose and Burning Crusade. The original Burning Crusade. I asked him for advice back in Black Temple on what potions to use. In 2007. And he's re-leveling with ST. Holy shit. Oh my god. That's awesome. So many not true. Many of them are greedy as hell and just want more. It's a huge part of the issue. Yeah, because you never know whenever the gravy train is going to end. It's the same thing I said with streamers, right? I mean, unless you have like $10 million or $5 million, I mean, what happens if you get banned? What happens if you get canceled? What happens if people just stop watching you? You know what I mean? Like you've got no control over that. Nothing, you move on. Well, the thing is, like, cancel, just don't be a shitcan, you won't. Nah, it's not just that simple, right? It's like there's plenty of people that are like super wholesome and super nice, and people stop watching them because they're fucking boring. That's the truth.
Fuck.
What is there where people are scared, then they get dangerous?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just people are very naive whenever they think about these things because they assume that the people are going to act in like the here's my best advice, okay?
So
always expect people to act in their own best interest. And never really hold it against them whenever they do it.
I feel like at the very least...
I try not to really hold it against people whenever they act in their best interest. And sometimes, yeah, whenever it fucks me over, it does make me mad. Absolutely. But as a general rule, I try to avoid that.
I think that, at the very least, if there is an even standing between having morals and doing the right thing and, you know, doing the wrong thing. If there's an even ground, then I think there should be no hard feelings upon both.
Yeah, always expect people to do that.
You need both to do in order to survive. And yeah, you should always expect the bad from happening. That the bad would happen, but...
Peter Baelish, man.
I'll say.
That dude was doing pretty well until they killed him. You know?
Not enough. The heck, dude. So it's enough for me. And
yeah, he's doing real well until they... I mean, they eventually got his ass, you know? But it took like, what, 7 seasons to get him? This dude lasted longer than almost anybody else. Fucking for somebody else being back 7 times is also acting in self-interest, doesn't make it right.
So,
I don't really believe in a whole lot of right and wrong.
What's right and what's wrong?
I don't really. I think it's a pointless conversation. What
is right? What is wrong? Who knows?
What's up, saving money? Underhanded burning things. Wouldn't the developers have to
I
find
mean,
more
more than
honest
anything,
ways
it's
to
not
add?
really a point worth
That's the
talking
same thing
about.
I said
It's
with
more
a
of
lot
a,
of things, right?
you know,
Like,
how
if
much
everybody
value
just-
does it have these days?
There's so many.
Most of
there
the
are so
time, it
many
really
things
doesn't
that's
have much
totally
value to
true
talk
with,
about it.
and so many things
Because-
that'll never happen with.
Yeah, that. Exactly that. At the end of the day, that's that. What can you do? Again, I'll wait for even playing field.
I'm gonna go
I
ahead
will
and go to
still hold my morals, but I know they're not as useful,
I
you know.
need to get
obviously.
some sleep, and that way I can go.
ついていきますルリのように落ちなさい
Sadly.
ここにいでよ
Peace.
師匠の技を食らいぬ部外者禁止元気出してよほっやっついていきますはっえい運命の共演
Oh, he ended his stream. Alright. What can you do, man? What can you do? Wish the world was more fair. Can't have that.
テイ君のために
Can't have the world be too fair, you know?
バーバラ
Else the evil people can't win.
相関化粧これが運命です
If only. What I hold dear would come in true, but never does. So let's see.
姿を風だ
全力攻撃だ
やっこれが海山えいここだよはっ足元に気をつけ
みんながそばにいてくれるわ
逃げようなんて思わないでよね断罪の名においてやっ
What's the other one?
冒険だ冒険せ
やるじゃないか炭になるがいい
みんなは俺が守れへっ燃えろ
姿を見せ
やっておけ
So, man, for an Asmongold, I'm just gonna listen to Asmongold. So, there's a lot of things to think about, but yeah, generally speaking, I think it's not worthwhile thinking too much about what's good, but it is good to uphold it, you know, to uphold whatever you think is right in your own mind, without pushing it onto others, of course.
I haven't made a video on this channel for a while, and I recently watched the
Never forget where you came from. You don't need to change to make, you know, to fit to everyone.
and it
But
really kind of inspired me.
you need to remember that
部外者禁止みんなを
whatever
守る
happens, you know, world isn't really too fair.
話が通じないならおっえいお触り禁止風雪の縮図
In a second, I need to. I can't make it louder.
相関化粧
The weakness of making my YouTube always very silent. Unless I listen to music, then I blam it out hard. Let's do a little bit
お
of
触り
music.
禁止
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, the reason why I think it's just in practice,
準備できたかな ミュージック料理の時間です。
この仕事は排除するべきですね。部外者禁止。
運命が水面に映るのでついていきます。運命の熱々でしょ。ついていきます。
So,
They're going to be being added back into the game in 9.2, which is going to be, I'm assuming, the third raid.
when you
in,
don't have enough of
Shadowlands.
Asmongold,
I
just
think
listen
this
to
is
more
a
of it.
good thing, but I think that people's optimism and happiness is a bit misguided. This is something that we've had in the game for 15 years. It was removed without a whole lot of rationality or logic behind
Unlucky.
it, and now we're having it added back into the game, and people are celebrating it like it's a win. I think that obviously I appreciate them listening to feedback, but I'd like to get to a point to where we can move beyond getting things back that we already had. I think that's not good for the game at all. Just continuously having this basically platter of activities and abilities that players have, and then every expansion there's 8 things on the platter, Blizzard takes 5 off, and then people get excited when they get the next 3 back again. It's just not really exciting or innovative or interesting or fun. I don't like it at all. And as excited as I am about tier sets, there's a certain degree of resentment that I see whenever the community applauds something that to me seems like something that should have never happened in the first place. And on top of that, it's something that should have been added in the first tier. And I think that this is actually a bigger issue, which is the complacency of not only the developers but also the players.
Complacency is a big issue. I'll agree. People are just way too accepting of everything.
Very clear problems that the game has, and people have been.
Maybe I watch too much Asmongold, but let me allude. He said the same thing, you know. The players are way too accepting of a game that's just, you know, done. That's it. No need to improve it. They don't feel like it needs a significant change to make it better, or they don't have a need of making a game that's already good even better. It's always the stalemate, you know. People are just complacent, and this is fine, but it also breeds the type of thing that always happens at the end of the day. If there's a complacency, there's always going to be someone who's going to abuse it. You know, it's going to make sure, double sure they make the least amount of effort done in order to keep the complacency up. That's bad. You know, competition and everything breeds actually improvement. Humanity progresses, you know, from you know, writing on papyrus, or you know, using stone, or using sharp stones to kill something, to pistols, guns, and everything else. Like quite a lot of improvement. Oh, you know, swords rather. There's so much improvement. But nowadays, since everything went commercial, they don't really need to improve anything. So, like, you know, if someone's happy, they don't need to do it much more. And this halts the progression of humanity in my eyes. Even in games too. Halts the progression of very good games. Groundbreaking games. There has been never any groundbreaking game since a while. At least I believe. I could forget a couple of those. You know, of course. But, you know, the real groundbreaking games don't really exist right now. In the grandscape of, you know, gaming. Could think of maybe 1 or 2 that are good, very good. But really, you know, we didn't step into anything good yet. I guess Final Fantasy would be maybe one. Cyberpunk would be a groundbreaking in the opposite side. But yeah.
Completely okay with saying, oh well, they'll fix it in X.
Hades is groundbreaking in another way, but it is not groundbreaking.
I'm
like
sure by next expansion they'll have it hammered out.
It is different.
I don't think that we should accept those types of answers, especially whenever it's things that actively make the game worse, and the solution to those things is fairly evident. I think that back in Legion, for example, I don't really want to talk a whole lot about previous expansions, but I have to give these examples in order to establish a certain degree of a pattern here. So in Legion, people asked, ever since the very beginning of the alpha in Legion, and then also the beta in Legion, for there to be not only targetable legendaries that you can work towards as your class, but also on top of that, for you to be able to have some sort of a resource that you can actively farm and you can actively work towards in order to get those legendaries and not just completely leave it up to luck. That was a change that people wanted and something people wanted out of the system ever since basically before the game even came out. And it didn't happen until 7.3 or 7.35. And that's like a 1.5 year difference that it took for a suggestion that happened in alpha to make it into the main game. And I think that if you were to ask anybody during Tomb of Sargeras or during Nighthold or Trial of Valor how they felt about legendaries, I think that many people would have thought that they were good items and they were fun to use, but the acquisition method was bad. Why is it that we have to sit around and wait for sometimes years in order for something that seems like an obvious decision that oftentimes ends up happening be added into the game? And I think that another example of this is Anima, and there's another example too, which is Corruptions, and this happened in BFA. And it's an ongoing pattern that Blizzard has continuously gone down, which is they will introduce a system into the game, and the system will be incomplete or broken or some way dysfunctional in a way that's actually fairly evident. Like, for example, the corruptions. You can't corrupt your gear, and the corruptions are massively game-defining and meta-defining, and...
Just to transfer this into Genshin, they also implement unfinished systems, like the currency, for example, that you get from the teapot. Is first things first, I hate teapot. Teapot is a fun gimmick to do, but I don't want this to be mandatory, so that's why I hate it. But yeah, it is also very much incomplete, not really fully fleshed out yet, and we will probably wait years to no end until it's actually gonna get fixed. It's like bringing in an idea in. But yeah, it's just, you know, we can use the teapot as an example, even if you might disagree. You know, we can all agree into one thing, that it has lots of potential of growth, and there's a lot of things that could get better. It could be a lot better on this.
There's no way for you to choose which ones you get. You just have to randomly get them, and you know, it is what it is. Now, I think that no player really wants to have a system like that. I think that something like that works just fine in a game like Diablo, or a game like Path of Exile even, where to some degree you're not really playing with other people, and so you don't have to actively compete with them for different things. You can just, you know, sometimes you grind and you get one good item or you get another good item, but you don't get every good item all the time. And I think that for an ARPG or something like that, it works just fine. But I think that this has been another kind of meta pattern that Blizzard has taken, is that I feel like a lot of the Blizzard developers genuinely do not play World of Warcraft the same way that they play.
That is completely true too.
I think that's evident by the amount of changes that the developers
pretty sure
the game.
The developers of Genshin don't really play Genshin.
By the very highest degree of PvP players.
But you know, that's just coincidental agreement, rather than really a conflict point.
Side, changes that are just completely antithetical to what an MMO is supposed to be. Things like title forging, or things like the random Legion legendary system, or corruptions, or I think that to some degree some of the gearing changes in Shadowlands fall into that category as well. And same thing with Conduit Energy, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more too. Apologize, there's a plane a little bit over. Jesus, it's loud, wow. I hope it doesn't crash my house. Anyway, so basically the way that I feel about this is that whenever I look at this situation and I see how things have gone, I see the exact same pattern being repeated, and the Blizzard developers are disconnected from the community, and what they think players want is not what players want. And I think also many of the developers lack the insight to understand what players need. I think that there's a big difference between giving players what they want and giving players what they need. And I think the best example of really great game design that Blizzard has done, because I don't think that it's impossible. I don't think these people are, to some degree I do think that they're incompetent, I'll be honest. But to some other degree...
This is where we, put the difference line in before, before I get lashed out. Genshin does know what the players need. It's a very simple thing, really. Well, the other things they add is just to increase player engagement. There's not really much to it. Some people like it, some people hate it, but ultimately it fulfills one simple goal and it does it. But yeah, a bit different.
Yeah, I also think that they are just making mistakes. They're listening to the wrong people, and they don't have as close of a connection to the community as they used to. And an example of Blizzard making very great game design is the Awakened mod in Mythic Plus at the end of BFA. The reason why it was such a great mod is that it allowed you to completely change up the way that you did the dungeons. It totally revolutionized the role that rogues had in different dungeons, because before that, Veil of Shadows, what was it called? The concealment thing that would make everybody else invisible and you could just skip hacks was just so meta-defining in Mythic Plus that almost every single high-end team had that. And whenever you had this affix added in, it completely invalidated that, and it made it much less important, and it added in a certain unique type of gameplay that was interesting in many different ways. And
how did I get close to that?
For example, the problem with Mythic Plus before then was that rogues were too powerful. And what players wanted was for Blizzard to nerf Shroud of Concealment, which was the rogue invisibility thing. I just couldn't think of it a minute ago. But what players needed was an alternate way to do dungeons. And the insight of a game developer, the insight of a great game developer, is to, in my opinion, take what players want and then discern from that what players need, and then create that type of experience. And I think the Awakened mod was a great example of being able to do that. And I don't think that it's impossible for Blizzard to do this, but I do think that it's improbable, and certainly has been that way for a while. I think that oftentimes we'll see different types of things added into the game that are things that the players want exactly, and Blizzard just decides to give players what they want without actually thinking about why they want it. I think that another
that is also one of the
is,
things that you could say.
I think that I might get into a little bit of hot water with this, but it's solo queue with PvP. I think that the truth is that, maybe Blizzard should add solo queue. I think so many people want it, why don't we just add it and just see what happens, right? I think that'd be nice. But I don't think that's really going to solve any problems with PvP, because I think the core issue is the fact that there's no PvP.
I think I completely fake as well.
There's no shared space for PvPers to interact with each other with. And overall, it's just such a hollow experience from what being a PvPer used to mean back in Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King or Cataclysm, or even Mists of Pandaria for that matter. And just over time, PvPers have become more disconnected from each other. PvPers have not been able to interact with each other in the same way. And that's led people to feel like they need solo queue because they don't have those spaces to interact with other players. And I think that's probably at the very core of what a lot of these issues are, is Blizzard continues to treat symptoms and not diseases. And I think that that's one of the big issues that the development team has, is that because they're not playing the game the same way that their players are, that they don't have the insight into understanding why players are running into these problems, because the developers aren't running into them themselves, so they can't actually kind of break down what the behavior pattern is that led them to that point. And I think that's a huge issue. It really is. And another thing, I'll go back to corruptions. And another reason why I think this is the case is that the first week of 18.3, they nerfed Twilight Devastation by 50% in PvP. Now, you don't do a 50% nerf on an ability like that unless you just didn't test it and you didn't put any effort into figuring out if it was good or not. Like, there's no way you think, oh wow, this is going to be fine, and then you need to nerf it by 50%. Any normal person would think that, and I can almost guarantee you that there was feedback on the forums about that exactly. And I think that overall, Blizzard has become very fixated on throttling players and around creating a uniform experience for players to have. I think that Renown is a good example of that, where all players go through the same thing at the same time. And the reason why I'm using Renown as an example is I actually think that Renown is not that bad. The problem, in my opinion, lies in the implementation of it. And I think the cynicism that implementation creates in players. So I'll give you another example. Is Anima. Right now, Anima is not really very fun to farm, and it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Most Anima things that you get are pretty much just cosmetics. They don't really matter a whole lot at all. But it's very clear that whenever Anima and Stygia 2 that was added into the mod, it's very clear that these two systems were not added into the game with a certain degree of insight into how players would enjoy them, and they were also clearly unfinished. And there were plenty of things that people had been asking for ever since the beginning of the alpha for Shadowlands that are just now happening with Anima and just then happened with Stygia as well. And you have all these little minor examples, like people dying in the air with their character, and then they can't recover their Stygia, and GMs can't help them. Why is that? Why is this okay? Why are we not speaking out about clearly just incompetence and being ignored? It's ridiculous that this is even a consideration. There are games that are free to play that have better customer service. It's embarrassing. And I understand that
if they don't need to answer what is the worst, if they don't need to answer, you know, their worst nightmare, then sure.
But
they're
whenever I
pretty
see
nice.
Blizzard that fires 800 people, and then suddenly there's a bunch of customer service problems, me as the player, and you know, also the consumer, I begin to wonder where their priorities are at. And it really does make me worried whenever I see them taking these shortcut solutions and selling themselves short. And I think that's also another thing that's happened. I think that Blizzard is so afraid of players finishing the game that they add in artificial throttling devices that will make it impossible for
The
players to
shooting
finish
always
the game.
takes so long,
I think that
and I
examples of this
hate
are
how
just
I have to
endless
listen to
anima
this
grinds.
shouting
I
all the
think it was
time.
the same thing with
It's getting
corruptions
into my
and-
nerves,
Like,
actually.
I'll give you an example.
Not you, Asmongold. You're fine, dude. But it annoys me how the game is obnoxious right now. So, give me a second. So,
With corruptions, I cannot. I talked about this a lot, right? I streamed almost all of 8.3. I still never found a compelling argument for why the corruption vendor
Much
was on a
better.
rotation. Why? Why was it on a rotation? And I don't mean to just talk about BFA, but again, I mean to establish a pattern. And I'll go ahead and
couldn't
do
dodge
that now.
that one.
Why is conduit energy in the game? Why do we have conduit energy in the game right now? What purpose does this serve? Who is this helping? And I think Blizzard developers are solving problems that players don't have by using solutions that players don't want. And that's exactly what's happened for years now. And I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted whenever I play the game, and I do all of my world quests, and 3 world quests in, I just want to go and do, I want to go watch
How
a
did
YouTube
this hit
video
me?
or something like that. It's basically like, imagine every world quest, I spend 100% of my effort on the first one, then 70%, and then by the 4th or 5th world quest that I have to do for the anima or for these other different types of rewards that Blizzard has created, I'm barely even paying attention to the game. I'd rather, you know, take a flight path that takes me 5 minutes so I can just not play the game
Yeah.
than run 30 seconds. And I think it's
This is where I agree. You know, if we put this into, you know, the Genshin debacle. Oh, there's no debacle, but I would also just rather just play the game. I don't need some extra things. Teapot is a nice addition, but if it's only addition, but it's for, you know, it's mandatory to get currency, more items and stuff. Very annoying. Really. So I can't do this first. Also have to watch out that every 2 seconds I need to dodge cancel out of this shooting. It's very annoying, really. Very annoying, really. Hand motions are more than enough. I need to see much more than that. So they're gonna start the explosion. I was far away, but whatever. So, and they separate each other. No point in shooting like that. Yep, there is very little time I can shoot in between, but yeah, that's a point I would share as well with Genshin if we were to transfer it. Is the fact that I have to spend time in order to do whatever I want in things I don't want to do. And Teapot is just one example. Hoping it's only one, but yeah, it's more than nothing. It's just every time it's like all these rewards are scattered throughout. You have to log in daily to do them. You have to do commissions every day. You have to visit the Teapot every day to make sure you have all this stuff. It's not fun. Just want to play the game, pull something and leave again. Because the gameplay already will probably not gonna appease me. Why does this always hit me whenever I'm thinking I'm not in range?
It's just a very unfortunate
very hard to
situation that Blizzard has trained players into not playing the game and into waiting for later patches for systems that are, in my opinion, intentionally flawed to be fixed because of some sort of arbitrary time reason.
This is where I agree again. Like right now I'm waiting for any gameplay content which doesn't exist. And we have to make do for 5 patches, 6 patches. I had to make do with whatever, you know. Whatever they put out there. So, and it wasn't really good either way too. So.
And what I mean by that is that I think Blizzard
I want to
listen
to that
conspiracy theory, but I think it's
Asmongold
true. I think that Blizzard intentionally
We're losing
releases
focus.
systems into the game that are unfinished and that are hard to use, and then they use the fixing of those systems as a reason later on to artificially increase engagement of those systems later on. And what I think this really does is it creates a pattern and a cycle of cynicism within the players, because people are tired of just being fed shit and then be expected to wait 4 months for it to actually not be shit. I don't really know why people are not asking for these things to be removed immediately.
I hate the predictive attack of this thing. It's very annoying.
For 9.2 for obvious functional game changes to occur. And I'll give you kind of another example of this happening in BFA, because I think BFA
is a very cheap way of scoring a hit. They predict until a certain point, so you have to wait until the last moment.
That these things have occurred in. And I think another example of this is Azerite armor. I don't think anybody appreciated having to hold 3 or 4 helmets in their inventory because Blizzard thought having spec-specific Azerite armor was stupid for the entire expansion. Let me ask you, now that BFA is over, did having 3 helmets and 4 different pairs of shoulders in your inventory for the entire expansion give you a better experience? Because the answer in my mind is absolutely not. It was annoying, and it was stupid, and it made you have to pick and choose, with there being no upside whatsoever. There was really no positive about it. And I remember Ian was talking about how the Azerite respec cost was too much because it kept doubling infinitely. And I got really mad about that statement, and the reason why I got mad about that statement is because Ian is the game director. Ian could just go in and change it if he wanted to. Now, obviously, Blizzard is probably getting into the point where they are, instead of too big to fail, they're too big to succeed. He'd probably have to go through 8 different board meetings in order to decide whether to change a variable in one minor feature in the game. But the truth is that that's a problem in itself. Blizzard is not agile.
They take so long to get together.
Not able to,
and even if they don't, even if they at the end get together, they still screw up somehow.
Like their time is being respected. And I'm sorry, but whenever I'm sitting there doing Torghast 2 times a week, Why do I have to do Torghast 2 times a week?
Wait till the last
Why
second.
is 1 time for all of my Soul Ash not enough? Why do I have
Wait
to
till the last second.
repeat? Really, I mean, let's be honest.
And they
the
wait.
exact same content twice.
Like this other guy
Why
standing
are
in the
these
corner,
different types of systems,
waiting
like
for years
now,
to get
especially
closer?
for same Covenant characters, why are these systems not account-wide? Nobody levels up a character to do World Quest twice. People level up a
Waiting
character
until the last
generally to
second.
do some of the core in-game features. People do not
Waiting
want
until the
to
last second.
fill up the bar of this basically World Quest counter of reputation
Waiting until the
multiple
last
times
second.
on different characters. I genuinely do not think that's normal player behavior, even though
And
Ian
they
insists
separate
that
each
it
other
is, because
once
I've
they get
never
closer.
spoken to a person who's like that, and I actually just think that he's wrong, because he's talking about how conduit energy is useful, and he explained how it's a good idea to have the corruption vendor on a rotation.
People
I
should
actually don't
start
think there's
making
a
games that
huge
are
amount of
fun.
people that think that. I don't think there's a huge amount of people that do that. I think that he's wrong, because that's the things that he's been wrong with before. There are very few things that Ian has been right about
I don't
that have
like
actually
paying
had to
attention
do
so much
with
for mundane things.
player behavior. I think that
But
Ian
yeah,
is a
I'm
great
listening
raid
to another
designer.
video. Maybe
The
more
raids that he
concentration
was in
stats
charge
once
of
again.
designing, I think were some of the
Wait until
greatest
the last
raids of all
second, dodge
time.
tank to the other side.
And I think that the end game
Wait until
PvE
the last
experience,
second.
Castle Nathria,
He's gonna
seems
explode.
to be a very, very good raid. And I do
They take
also want
years
to
to
say,
do.
at the
Still
very
an
high
attack.
levels of raiding and
Too long.
PvP, truthfully, my opinion doesn't really mean shit. I haven't raided or PvP'd very seriously for a very long time. So I'd defer to somebody else who has more knowledge, but I think that many other people who do seem to share the same sentiment, especially with raids. I think that across many of the high-end raiders that I've spoken to, many of them have said multiple times that one thing that Blizzard has not, dropped the ball on is raids. And I'm really glad to see that, but I think that one blind spot that Ian and the WoW team in general has is understanding how different changes and different systems make players feel. And I think this is a huge issue, because I think that so often they design content with the way the game should be played, and then they don't iterate on that content based off of how the game is being played. And that's led players to, I think, have a lot of resentment towards the game and be very frustrated about how the game is basically not catering to them and not creating a fulfilling experience.
The game
Because I
caters
think
to
that's
nothing.
fundamentally what it is. People
It
play
caters
video
to as
games,
many
in my
things as
opinion, to
possible.
feel good to some degree or to distract themselves. And
Say it to
I
both
think
games.
that, and maybe this is just me projecting, but I think there's a lot of people who, the moment that I play a video game and I feel like I'm wasting my time, I stop playing a video game. I just stop playing the game. Like, that's it. I like the illusion is broken. It's like
You gotta be fucking kidding
I'll
me,
try to think
right?
of like an analogy.
You gotta be fucking kidding
I don't
me,
know.
right?
It's like whenever Gandalf fucking
One of them shoots
purged
at me and the others
Saruman's
will go down.
influence from King Theoden and Rohan in Lord of the Rings. Okay, a bit of a nerd reference, but I think that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, is
Sad I
that
don't.
it will immediately snap you out of that feeling of enjoying the game, and you'll go from I'm loving this to I'm hating this in just a matter of minutes. And it will create apathy, it will create resentment, and you'll just move on and stop playing the game. And I think that so many systems in the game end up
Locked.
creating that because Blizzard is more focused on how players should feel
I cannot
rather
react
than
to
how
this
players do
because
feel.
it
And
was
too much content
bugged
in the game
in the
is
animation
being
because it was
developed
frozen.
without the insight of somebody who understands the psychology of the players.
Yeah.
And I think that's evident by the amount of systems that have been added in that have, if anything, just encouraged apathy
My
in the
God.
game. Anima, the corruption system, the Azerite system, the Legion Legendary system, and I can go on probably and think of more as well. And I think at a certain point, it's very tiring. And for me, as I've played the game for a long time, there are a lot of these like little, very small, minor things that I don't really think anybody cares about except for like me. So like a small thing is that in all the Shadowlands rares, the rares only drop their unique item if you're killing them with the correct spec or you're killing them with the correct class. So for example, if I'm trying to farm a rogue dagger off of a rare in Bastion, I have to be a rogue in order to farm that, or maybe a feral druid can equip it, or a hunter or something like that. But overall, you have to be that specialization. Why is that? Why is it not that you can just kill them and have the item drop because it's for transmog anyway, and nobody's going to realistically use it. And these types of changes and just these little small design flaws in my mind just go to show, and they become evident of a larger problem of a disconnect between the players and the developers being able to accurately understand and create content that's fulfilling for players. I think that's one of the biggest issues that the game has, is that it's just simply not fulfilling. And I think that Castle Nathri is a very good example of that. I know that my guild has had a lot of trouble with that, and I've heard from a lot of other guilds too that the raid is just simply not worth the trouble. And I don't really know exactly what the solution for that is. Is it just make the best absolute gear in the world drop from the raid? I don't know. In a way, I think that might be the solution, but in a way not. It's the same thing with Mythic Plus. I feel like Mythic Plus hasn't really been innovated a lot ever since Legion. I think that Blizzard has taken the safest approach possible with Mythic Plus and also with Arena and PvP competitive in general, because I think that the advent of the MDI and the AWC has actually caused the competitive elements of the game to stagnate because Blizzard doesn't want to take a risk on imbalances. And I think that, for example, we don't really see RBGs being innovated at all. We don't really see any sort of interesting keys occurring at all. It's just the same boring 2 affixes with the seasonal affix. It was a great idea. I'll give them credit for that. It was a great idea. But you need more than that. And I think especially for average players, you need something to really get people excited. And I think that's what really the issue is that there's just not a whole lot of things in the game that get you excited. Now, is this something that's the case because I've played the game for 15 years and it's harder to excite me now than it was whenever I was in high school and 16 years old? I think that's a factor, but I think that also whenever I see, for example, the armor from the Chains of Domination patch, the plate Mythic Maw armor, that motivates me to want a Mythic Raid. And it's the same exact feeling I got back whenever I saw the Blackrock Foundry Mythic Raid armor for Warriors, the Iron Star, like red and black armor. I thought to myself, you know what, guys, I was thinking about skipping out on the raid this tier, but turns out old Asmongold, maybe it's down for another round. And I think that it's not just because I'm older or I'm jaded or anything like that. I think that there's actually a lack of innovative and interesting and inspired content. And I think that lack of innovative and inspired and interesting content comes from a disconnect between the developers and the players, a fixation on trying to make players play a certain way and preventing certain play styles from occurring. And so often it feels like it's the developers against the players, and the development of the game is often an adversarial relationship between the people that want the game to be fun and the developers that want to throttle the game for whatever reason. And I think the 2 examples of that kind of that tug of war is Conduit Energy right now, and then previously the rotation on the corruption vendor. So I see these things happen. I see people continuously become more apathetic about the game. And I see Ian come on and interview with Preach, and I do want to say again, I really appreciate Ian coming on and talking about it. And that's why I've tried to be as direct and just honest as possible in this video, because this is just my genuine feedback. This is really just how the game makes me feel. And I think that we need more of this. I think that we need more of these interviews. We need more of these conversations, because the truth is that I love WoW. I've loved WoW for 15 years. Minus a little half years from WoW. I think it's actually from Hearthstone, but you know, Hearthstone is from WoW, so it is what it is. And
I don't know why they don't make closer sometimes. I really care about maybe because I need to dodge.
And I want to see it do better. Obviously, there are other games I'm excited for, other games that I care about, but WoW is always going to be the game that I love.
I want this game too. Sadly, T2 doesn't get updates.
Route, and I don't think that it has to.
Doesn't get any updates. I think that a lot of times that
we can expect better, and I think that we should. We shouldn't expect to play with a bad system for the rest of the expansion. We shouldn't expect to play with a bad system for the rest of a patch. People should want changes immediately if those changes impact the way they enjoy the game. And I think that Ian has almost a defeatist attitude around that. That, oh, well, we can't change this, you know, this is an expansion thing or whatever. Who cares? Well, like, these are your own rules that you've created. Nobody else has these rules. This is something that's completely fabricated. This is in your head. And I think that more players need to wake up and see that, and we need to ask for and expect better, because I know Blizzard can do it. I know that they can make better
because I was
content,
out of stamina.
and I think that there have been many cases, even recently, of them being able to do that. I think Shadowlands is a massive improvement over BFA in 100 different ways. And there are some things that I like better about BFA, but that's a handful, and there's hundreds that I like better about Shadowlands. Let's keep asking for better content. And let's keep
definitely,
expecting better
man.
content. I don't want to wait until the next expansion or the next patch to be able to enjoy the game. I want to enjoy it now. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much how I feel, and that's pretty much it. Really hope the game gets better. I'm gonna probably go inside and for an anima for 15 minutes, and then watch a YouTube video because I get bored. Peace.
So true, so true.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm fucking mad. I'm so sick of this shit. I can't even talk. Fuck!
We are going to be joined by Mr. Ian Hazakostas, who has graciously given us his time.
Always good to be here, Mike. Looking forward to another fun conversation.
I did want to talk, first of all, like,
Ian could be a
9.0 has
streamer.
been such a long time, like, comparative to other starter patches. But we did have Shadowlands delayed. 9.1 we
Yes.
don't have a
Well,
release date yet.
No stamina all the time. It starts with something. I don't know why. So. Just a classic WoW. Live up to expectations. Pay to skip. Oh, I want to see this
Yes.
one again. This is an
Alright,
amazing
here we
one.
go. This is the video that people have wanted me to watch.
Oh, this
Okay,
is a
so to
great.
skip through all the preamble, a couple days ago I made a
Jeez,
video
man.
talking about New World's monetization.
We watched
It
that.
was about a leak from their non-disclosure agreement forums.
Yep.
And since then, New World have posted an update on their Twitter
They should have
talking about,
posted
you
an
know,
apology.
trying to placate people, assuage people's fears about the cash shop. And in doing so, I think they've given the game away. I think this is actually worse now that they've said this than it was before. And there's only one point that really has been brought up, and people seem to miss the point here. That what this line here, all store items at launch will be exclusively cosmetic in nature. And a bunch of people have been like, oh, why did you make this video? You're a liar. Why did you take rumors and leaks at face value? This is the same message as the leak, by the way. It's just got a little bit more info. And the thing
Well, anybody that thought that it was fake is a moron. Really, I mean, anybody who thought that it was fake, like, I mean, imagine, oh wow, I think it's fake that Amazon was gonna try to make money off of something. Oh, bro, that's fake. Jesus, of course, obviously.
guys should be focusing on here is the part that says at launch it will be exclusively cosmetic, because that means at any point afterwards they can just drop the dick on you. So here we go, let's go through the
Oh,
New World
boy,
page on
do I
Twitter.
love it.
Some questions have come up recently from our alpha patch notes discussing an in-game storefront. Our plan in having a store is to create an outlet for players who find
too
enough
close.
value
That's
in
why
store
they were not
items
close enough.
that they are happy to purchase them. Our
Yeah.
plan is not and never will be to create a feeling that store items are necessary to enjoy the game. All players will be able to play the full game experience we ship without having to make store purchases.
It's just so
Two
stupid.
things real quick. The first one being their plans to make money. It's just common sense. Their plans to make money. It's low-hanging fruit,
Sometimes
but it is what it
people
is.
just want more money.
Trying to act like there's some other fucking secondary reason for it. That's what's so funny to me.
Yep.
Is it's like, oh no, we want to do this is for the players. If it's for the players, why does it does it cost money?
It's not to make us happy. That's a byproduct. When
Oh,
they start
definitely.
talking about something
Exactly.
that I didn't see anyone
True.
mention online, the conversations I've seen have not been they're gonna make the game like the cash shop purchases necessary to play the game. But in saying this, they make a real good point. You know, another game where you can buy the game and have the full game experience without having to pay anything in the cash shop? Black Desert Online. You can buy that game or get it for free, 5-10 euros, whatever it is, and you can play from start to finish, get from a complete brand new player to the end game where you're doing like siege wars in the castles.
For anybody who doesn't know, Black Desert Online has one of the worst cash shops. Like, it's a complete fucking pay-to-win game. Like, it's not like you can literally buy money in the game. You can buy armor that increases your drop chance and it gives
Yep.
you more experience.
Pay to win.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Anyone who says in their games that they don't plan on doing anything on launch or any sort of smart man words. They are on one. Any free game will 100% try and monetize something.
And never spend a penny.
100%.
You can technically do that. But look
it's
at
very
that cash
simple
shop,
thing.
look at the monetization
It's a
of that
1+1
game,
type of deal at this point.
monstrosity that it is.
Yep.
And tell me if that's something you want in your game. Because by their own definition, by saying this, all
Exactly.
players will be able to play the full game experience we ship without having to make store purchases. That's leaving the door open for that exact same scenario. And do I think it's going to be as bad as that? No, of course I don't.
Not yet.
But you can get as close to that as possible, and by their own definition here, it's not a problem.
Even if it's half as bad, it's still not good.
Because a lot of people that play Black Desert Online, in fact, the majority that you'll see talking about this, will say, oh, that stuff's not necessary. Listen to these words I'm going to use here.
Yeah.
It's convenience. It's quality of life. Now, let's examine what quality of life and convenience is by definition. Something being convenient means that beforehand it was not convenient. You know who makes it not convenient?
The
people selling you the convenience. So this is by definition. They are making problems out of nothing to sell you the solution. How do you guys think it's a good idea to incentivize a company to make the game and your experience worse so that you can buy the solution from them? This is the part that blows my mind.
This is what I don't understand too. If something's bad, it was made to be bad. There's no argument to, oh, you know, you can do this or that, this and that. It was meant to be awful. And that results in, obviously, you know, selling the solution. This thing, for example. This thing is an atrocious wild ride. I do not like doing this. But, you know, you can beat it. A good thing you can beat it. I'd be pissed if you couldn't. But yeah, you can buy the solution, which I actually have. This is the solution using right now. But there's also other rudimentary examples. I got hit by them 3 times on the sideline, so I have to reset.
Because the people defending
like
this,
sometimes
I don't even think they know, and this is the problem.
Sometimes I think.
Well, they do know.
Sometimes I just think that things like these that are made intentionally bad and then protected, or you know, sell the solution and there's an outrage. Oh, why are you mad? There's a solution right there, $50. I sometimes ask myself, you know, many things.
No, I think that a lot of them do know, but they don't want to admit it. They don't want to actually like really just fucking be honest with themselves.
No, they don't want to be wrong.
Because it's like, how can you not know? Or they're probably just so desperate for a new game, they just don't give a shit.
I really don't know how to get my point across to get these people to understand.
They never will.
They've had a magic trick pulled on them, and they just don't get it yet. It's not clicked. So the best way I can describe it is let's go back in time. Let's do a boomer moment.
Okay.
So
I like
10, 15 years ago, before the fucking rot of microtransactions absolutely destroyed the core of MMORPGs.
Yeah.
People had 9-to-5 jobs and families back then. And you know what happened? People enjoyed games. And you know how they did? Because games was designed in a way where the monetization was essentially incentivizing the game to be good. If you didn't think the game was good, you wouldn't pay a monthly price to play it, would you?
You didn't
Just
buy
makes
the game.
sense. But as soon as that monthly price went away, so did that game design, where they had to design it to be fun month round, year round, to make that money from you. So what they started doing was designing a game to be worse, so that you would pay money to skip the game to get to the point where you think it will be fun. This is what they've done, and I don't know how people haven't realized this, but you're part of your...
Because they're in denial, man.
I'm not sure if they're in denial.
Because you don't think about it, right?
I really am not sure if they're in denial.
It's just, there are so many games that do this. It's not like there's one game or whatever
I think they just don't want to know.
There are so many other fucking games that do this.
At this point, I'm just very confused.
They basically create problems, and they leave problems in the game. Like, for example, if you are putting a boost in the game, I think that to some degree, you are acknowledging that that content is bad. That content is not fulfilling. Because if it was fulfilling, then you wouldn't have it be a boost, and you would want players to play through it on their own. And the reason why they do the boosts and they keep the content in the game is because they can sell the boosts. So if you have good content that people don't want to boost through, you're not going to sell a lot of boosts. So if your goal is to sell boosts, then it's in your best interest to not have good content.
Yep. There's a
self-fulfilling
too much of a true that I could do right now.
I work
no
9 hours a day, I work 10 hours a day, so I like to be able to skip the game. I like to be able to boost and catch up with other people. You shouldn't. You should want the game to be designed in a way that it respects your time enough that you can have fun regardless of what stage of the game you're at. It should be fun from leveling. It should be fun from when you first hit level cap. It should be fun when you've been at level cap for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years.
True.
But instead, you're part of them. You haven't changed. 9 to 5s haven't changed that drastically. You're still working 9 to 5. You've still got a little bit of free time like those people did back then. What has changed is how they've designed the games, how they've monetized the games. If you can't see that shift, I don't know how I can really get that point across, because I don't think I'm crazy here. I think
it's actually a really good point, right? Because like different people enjoy different things. Yeah, but like at a certain point, like if what you enjoy doing is just paying money to skip all the content in the game, that's not a mode of gameplay that I think should be supported by the company. So like, for example, some people, the way they enjoy playing games is logging on and just like harassing other players. That's fine. Like, yeah, it's the way you enjoy playing a game. That doesn't mean it should be supported by the developers, right? That's why you have ignore lists and stuff like that. And I understand, obviously, people like different things, but just because you like something doesn't mean that there should be a feature in the game that allows you to bypass it. And also, what he's bringing up is a really good point, that this person feels like they have to skip through the content because they're not experiencing it well. Well, what about the reality that the fact that they feel like they have to skip through it, and this game has engineered a situation that they feel like they have to pay more money to get to a point that they want to be at, rather than just play through the game and be able to enjoy it on their own. It's really manipulative. And it's so weird to me to see people that defend it at all. And I feel like there's less and less people like that every day, right? Because, you know, it becomes harder and harder to defend like things like this, because it's a stupid opinion to have to defend this. And the only reason that people even think that at all is because the companies put it forward. Like, any critical thinking on this would lead you to the logical conclusion that it's bad for the game. So the only people that like it are people that don't know what they're talking about. And so the more that we talk about it, the more people learn, and then the less people that are okay with it.
This is a really good point. You're gonna have to let me know if it's not, but it's the game design that's changed, and you saying I think paying for boosts is good because it benefits me. Is you not understanding that in doing so you are incentivizing the company to continually make games that are worse for you, because in doing so, that's what makes them more money. The worse the game is for you to then skip it makes them more money. Just so I can really get the idea across to you, I will now give you a direct example of New World specifically making a change in the game to make the game worse to sell you the solution, because they care, right? And we'll go through their Twitter post about this in a minute. They really care about the game experience for you.
I don't know what this is.
And not making the game worse, just, you know, selling you convenience. So here we go. One of the only examples of being an absolute nerd and doing these boring fucking line-by-line text patch notes videos actually pays off. From December 2020, Forge and Fury. Quote, rested experience so that it now starts accumulating after 12 hours, increased from 8 hours, and accrues at 2% per hour, decreased from 2.5% per hour. Making rested XP worse within the game. From yesterday's Twitter post. Quote, we will also test ideas on how to offer players quality of life items for mechanics like rested XP and fast travel. We'll get to this whole thing in a minute, but there you go.
That's crazy how that's crazy how that happens. So they make the game worse to sell that's literally what it is. How can you possibly fucking defend that? They're sabotaging their own game to make a little bit more money. Yeah, 5-head make a bad game. How is it that making a bad game has gone from being 1-head to 5-head? That's really what it is. Like, if your game has enough hype behind it, it's better for you to...
So, this is the thing that should probably be remembered. Games these days are business. If there's a decision made, it's always a business decision. There are very rare instances where someone goes out of their way to make a good product without thinking of money.
To make the game bad so you can sell the solutions on the store.
We will also test ideas on how to offer players quality of life
Wow.
items for mechanics like rested XP and
Fucking
fast travel.
wow.
We'll get to this whole thing in a minute, but there you go. That is them directly nerfing something in the game 6 months ago to then sell you a solution of making it better in the game now. So the people that are defending this, I honestly don't know what to say to you at this point if you don't see how clear this is.
Yeah,
but
it's obvious.
The problem is that you guys have been convinced by these companies that it's in your best interest to do this, and they're providing you a solution. But it's a solution to a problem that they've created over the years.
Yeah.
And let's continue going over this because there's so much more to hit on. I don't want this video to be like 30 minutes long.
How is it so... this is crazy, man. It's so... I'm so glad. Like, I'm so thankful for this video. I really am. Because the fact that he was just able to show the rest of the experience and fucking just drop that fucking juxtaposition on people's fucking dick, dude. And just show them, be like, listen, you think it's not happening? It already fucking did. It already fucking did.
Yep.
In the alpha. The game's not even out yet, and they're making it worse in order to incentivize these purchases.
So all store items at launch will be exclusively cosmetic in nature.
Yeah.
We are introducing the storefront in alpha in order to test these items and their value. No selections in the store or their indicated cost. During testing, there is no real cost in any case.
Obviously.
Is final. Our purpose is quality assurance and gathering
My
player
God.
feedback. So please share your thoughts once the system is introduced. The testing audience will see each type of item we are considering and have an opportunity to provide feedback before they are introduced to the live game. Now, a couple points on this.
What I thought was funny about this, before I mention that, is whenever at the very beginning, well, hey man,
spam those attacks like an
why'd
idiot.
you shit on my floor? Oh, that's my bad, bro. If you give me $10, I'll clean
Just
it up.
a couple of shots I can fire off, but they spam
that's
their
so
attacks,
good.
man.
That's honestly so fucking good.
Just like
that's
I do.
fucking perfect. What's funny to me is, like, so the New World, obviously, like the social media team at New World, they initially thought the best thing was to try to you know, fucking reason with people and try to explain to them why adding these features is a good idea. And nobody in the comments at all was buying it, because this isn't a free-to-play mobile game or whatever, right? This is an MMO full of a bunch of neckbeards that see through bullshit like that a lot easier than a 12-year-old that's hyped up to buy the next Fortnite skin. So these types of people are gonna immediately fucking see it, and they're not gonna buy it. And so then after that happened a while, and they were just making it worse, they changed to just saying, thank you for your opinion, we're gonna take this into consideration, because they could tell it was just making it worse. It was obvious they could tell it was just making it worse. It's kind of funny to have happen, but there it is.
The part you should really be paying attention to is the operative words here of at launch.
Yeah.
All store items at launch will be
True.
exclusively cosmetic in nature. So the people that are linking me this and going, oh, you're a liar, why are you talking about things that are not going to be in the game? They've said it's going to be purely cosmetic. At launch, guys, you keep missing that point off.
Yep.
At launch, it's going to be purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
How long is that going to be? What's going to be
one
added
day.
in
Launch
after?
is one day.
I don't think this is transparency, apart from in the fact that we can transparently see through your bullshit. The only reason to put something behind a non-disclosure agreement at this stage of the game when you're released in a couple months is to protect pre-orders. That's the only way I can see, because why else would you have it behind there? If you truly value your players' feedback, why wouldn't you put this front and center and let people talk about it? Like I said, you have the mechanisms in place already. You post public patch notes to gain to get feedback from people. You post them so that people can have discussion and know what's going on about the game. But this specific point, the biggest point of the game, the monetization, you put that behind a fucking non-disclosure agreement. That's transparent only in that we can see that what you're saying doesn't make sense. Looking towards the future, we will...
Well, the reason why they did that is because they knew that it would happen. They knew that people would get mad about it. Like, anybody would know that. Like even the dumbest person in the world would know that people are going to get mad whenever monetization is getting added into it. So, of course, they're trying to keep it on the down low because they don't want people to find out about it and have what happened happen. because now they have to deal with this, and now the player base is talking about how much they don't like the game and how much they don't want to play it now, and now they have to play defense. Whereas, like, if they had released the game and had had the monetization options already, then people would have had a certain level of sunk cost because they've already leveled up their character, they've already been playing the game, so there'd be less people willing to quit the game or stop playing because they're already invested in it. So now, because there's no investment in the game, this is whenever they don't want people to know about it, because they have to get you. It's like whenever you're fucking fishing, right? Is you put the fish out there and you give them the bait, you let them eat the bait because they don't know the fucking hook's there. And then after they eat the bait, after they're there, then you get them with the fucking hook.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening here.
Fishing with
Asmongold. It's literally a debate.
Jesus.
So ideas on how to offer players quality of life items for mechanics like
what can you say?
And fast travel, both
Everything is about the
and
sea.
purchasable in the store.
Fast
the
travel.
Yeah, I would say
for
that's
these types of items will
actually
depend on how
not,
players
you know,
progress in the months after launch.
they
The more
need
players
this
who are
to
able to
survive.
experience all of our exciting
If
in-game
you're going
content
back
and
to
game
the
modes,
argument of,
the healthier
you know,
the
the
overall game
so
experience
necessary
will be for
evil
all
in order
players.
to survive.
I don't know who this is fooling.
You don't need to.
Because
You don't need
by
that.
definition, if you
They
put
don't
something
need
in the
that.
cash shop,
They know it's just for
you
money.
must think that there will be value in buying it. Otherwise,
Obviously.
what would be the purpose of it being there? If there is no incentive to get it, if it gives you no advantage whatsoever, if playing the game normally is perfectly sufficient to fast travel as much as you need to, why would it be in the cash shop? Because nobody would buy it. It's fucking...
It's like, imagine paying 50 cents to reset your Hearthstone.
So the fact that you're seeing things like this, and this is going to be something that, you know, people won't really need to buy because you'll be able to earn it in game. I don't think it's true, because if that was the case, it wouldn't be purchasable in the first place. So this is one of the parts that I can't really reconcile in my brain, to be honest, because when you're talking about, like, oh, the more players who are able to experience all of our exciting endgame content and the game modes, the health of the overall game experience will be for all players.
It's so dumb.
You're essentially saying that the leveling process is bullshit, and people shouldn't care about it, and it's just there literally as a fucking barrier for entry for endgame. And at that point, you're happy selling people boosts and stuff because they shouldn't care about it. And that, for me, before your game's even launched, is just, it's so ridiculous that I don't even really know what to say about it. And then they double down on this on Twitter, and it's honestly mad what they say. They basically say here, it isn't about rushing people to endgame, it is about supporting people who don't have as much time to play and helping them reach the endgame with the time available to...
Then make the game better. Like, what?
It's too hard. It's hard to make a good game these days.
It's not even out yet. Like, it's not even released.
Which completely misses the point. Whoever's doing the PR, whoever's doing the Twitter for this game, doesn't understand what people are saying. And then somebody says, if you see your content is skippable or not relevant, that buying a boost is a good way to get into the real content, then you failed creating interesting content progression.
Yeah.
Make leveling faster if you care about people wasting their time, or if endgame is all you care.
True.
A New World Twitter account responds again and says, MMOs take a tremendous time investment that not everyone has available.
Says.
Yeah, because you make them that way. Literally, you're the company that makes it that way. You can change that. Literally, by definition, this is a problem you're creating. Boosts can be a way for someone who doesn't have time to get more out of the time that they can play and support the game and community in another way, which is all this really comes down to. So I responded and I basically said, make the leveling faster by default or make the leveling experience actually fun, and people won't care if they can't skip it, as it will have been worth playing.
Well, there's a lot of people that will always want to skip the content. They will always want to just go straight to the end game, and they don't care about anything else except for the end game. They don't care about the story. They don't care about anything. They just want to play for the end game. But you shouldn't make the game cater to that kind of person. Like, it's the same as what happened in Wrath of the Lich King. Whenever Blizzard made the game, they made WoW appeal to so many people that it stopped appealing to MMO players.
Yep.
And then they did it in Cataclysm too. There are target audiences for video games. For example, most of the people that play FPS games are younger. There's not a lot of old people that play FPS games because their reaction time is shittier. I wonder how I know that. That doesn't mean that you want to fucking add in some weird lag feature into the fucking game to make it easier for them. There are target audiences for games. And you don't have to just keep changing the game and making it different just because you want more people to play it. Because at a certain point, you reach the point where you start cannibalizing your initial audience.
This is essentially admitting to making leveling a prohibitive aspect of the game that has no value. which is the only way I can really see this. If you're saying we want to respect people's time by making them skip our game, how have you designed this fucking...
Well, how are you respecting somebody's time whenever you're asking them to spend their real money that they earned with their time at their job to play your game again? Like, how is it respecting somebody's time if you want that person to spend their money? Because their money is their time. Like, you don't just, like even, like, you go to work, you get paid, you know, $10 an hour. Right? I mean, like, this is your time. This money is time is money, friend. How are you respecting somebody's time if you're wanting them to pay extra money for something they already paid for? With money that they spent their time getting?
It just seems like a really terrible point to make.
Crazy.
It's arguing against your own fucking interests, honestly. Our goal with all items of any type is that they not offer an advantage that imbalances the game.
Yeah.
We understand that this line is based on player interpretation, so we ask for your patience while we test in alpha and listen to your feedback. Again, it's not our feedback, it's the feedback of people under an NDA. And then they do the good old... it wouldn't be a PR statement if they didn't say for transparency. So for transparency on future plans, we're also contemplating but have not finalized a battle pass style program that would combine store items on a periodic basis. This will also be tested ahead of time to ensure it provides strong value without disrupting gameplay for those not participating. Much further along, there is also the possibility of optional expansions, which would have a separate cost. Now, in terms of expansions,
all this damage I did was not against this person as well.
It's a normal thing. I'll pay for content that actually is worth paying for. In terms of a battle pass, if it's just going to be things that like are already in the cash shop, like it's not the worst system in the world, because at that point we've already sort of lost this battle. If they're selling things in the battle pass that are part of, like, you know, convenience and fucking...
I don't like how they think they're very smart doing that.
Stage, if it's just cosmetics,
predicting,
again,
because
I
I
don't
can
like
predict the
cosmetics in my
predicament.
MMOs. I think they devalue content.
So
I think
you know,
it puts the impetus on developers to make the cosmetics good and the cosmetics that people don't pay for bad, because that's where they make the money. And that's truly what's at play at every stage here. They look at what makes them money, and if making cosmetics for the cash shop makes them more money than making them for the game, do you think they're going to put a bunch of effort into making cosmetics for the game? Of course they're not.
It's just that simple. And I think there's a lot of people that want to go back and, like, second guess common sense and, like, try to rationalize in their head, oh no, they never do that to me. Yeah, they will. And they do. They do that with WoW. Look at how much better the fucking cosmetic mounts look than the fucking game mounts. Look at, like, back in WoD, the same shit happened. Like, it's as soon as you provide a profit incentive, then companies are going to follow that incentive. The solution is don't have the incentive.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just logical. It's like, if you follow what is in somebody's best interest, you can just know what they're going to do. Especially with a big company like this. Just follow the money, look at what's in their best interest, and that's what they're going to do.
It's common sense, it's business. We all know how capitalism works. And this is all the way through. It's the same thing with the quality of life and the convenience in the game. And personally, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking sick of people using these terms of pay for convenience and pay for quality of life.
Yeah.
Because they're the PR terms. You might as well be walking around with a New World t-shirt and hat on, doing their job for them. Because this isn't pay for convenience. This is paying to not be inconvenienced. This isn't quality of life. This is paying to remove barriers that the company have put in there themselves. It is what it is. And you're doing the PR job for them by using these terms that are loaded in the favor of those companies and what they're doing.
That's what's so sad to me, is to see people that actively work against their own best interest in simping for $1 trillion company that doesn't care about them.
Yep.
People can't have opinions that don't align with your own. No, it's not that they can't have opinions. It's that their opinions are not based off of reality. They're based off of terms that were fed to them by a company who's for profit. Like, this is a for-profit company feeding you vocabulary that you're then regurgitating to rationalize your own bad decisions. Of course you can have an opinion, but I can have an opinion too that your opinion's fucking stupid.
Should start calling them by what they are. This is paying to not be inconvenienced, and it's not something we should be doing. It's not good. And I think the perfect example of this would be World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade.
True.
Let's think about how the game used to be monetized. It was a box price, a subscription price, and an expansion price. So where they made most of their money was subscriptions. Of course it is. So how do they get that much money from subscriptions? They make the game worthwhile to play month on month on month, year round. And the reason that they do that is because that's the only way that they get money. And then, of course, when you look at what they do nowadays, it's more about like patch cycles and cannibalizing their own content to basically skip you forward to the new stuff, because they don't care if you play for 6 months in a row. They don't care if you play for 12 months in a row. That would be nice, but at the end of the day, they want you to play on the patch and buy some microtransactions instead. And if 100 people quit, chances are 10 people have a higher ceiling of spending that they will make up for those 100 people leaving the game.
All the boiling
That's why the game design has gone that way.
I swear
and
to
what I mean
God.
by self-cannibalizing
I swear
of
to
content,
God, this is
back
stuff.
then, when
My
like
God.
you joined into the Burning Crusade a year into the game, you didn't skip forward to fucking Black Temple. You didn't like get a bunch of epics given to you and a bunch of gear that was as good as Serpent Shrine Cavern and Tempest Keep and skip forward and not have to do
That's
all
so
that
stupid,
content
yeah.
that was there, that was good content that took a lot of time to make.
Exactly.
They used to have you actually do that. There was,
You can
if
trick
you
them
didn't have
into
time
doing
or the
whatever they
skill
tag you want.
to be a tier 6.
Oh,
I actually
whatever
never
direction
really
you want
thought
to
about
do.
it like that. That they skip people
Ah,
forward
yes.
in order to get more people to come back for the patches because there's new content for everybody. And then more people coming back just gives them a higher chance of being able to get microtransaction sales. Yeah, that I never really thought about it like that, but I think that could definitely be what they're doing. I mean, obviously it might not be, but that's certainly the way that it seems to me. That's the formula. It seems that way.
Raider, you had tier 5 guilds, you had tier 4 guilds, you had guilds that were there consistently year round playing these raids, and that was just where they operated, and they had fun playing the game in that way because the game was designed around that. But nowadays you don't have to do the previous raid once the new one comes out. There's no real reason to do it other than tertiary things like getting cosmetics or you know, if you want some achievements or whatever. They just remove it. They just skip you forward, give you the items that are pretty much what the old items used to be so that you can do the new raid. And I think it's a terrible way to do things, but they've gone that way because it's easier to design a game for people to play for a couple of months than it is for a couple of years. And at the end of the day, they're making more money by there being a higher ceiling of spending. And that's how game design's gone.
Yeah,
and
higher ceiling
I think
of
it's
spending.
really observable that that's how it is, and you can look at the MMOs over the years and
Agree
see how
with
the
that.
design's changed. And I hope after me
Big
saying
agree.
this, if you are one of those people who say, oh, I work 10 hours a day, so I like to be able to skip things in games, I hope you can hear me here and look at what I'm saying and see that you are just perpetuating your own problem here. Because if the games were just designed where the leveling was not by the own company's definition, something that they just want you to skip, you would be having fun in these games and wouldn't want to skip it. You wouldn't want to pay money to skip this content. So yeah, I think the video's gone on long enough. I have a platform. I'm lucky enough to have one, so I'm going to continue to talk about this because I do really think it's important. And honestly, I just want what's best for the game. The people that are saying, you know, oh, you hate the game, you want the game to do badly, I'd love to hear a reason as to why. I truly do believe in the saying, a rising tide raises all ships. And I'm an MMO content creator. I want MMOs to do well, and that's all there is really to it. I want this game to be long-term good. So when people say, oh, you know, if it does go pay to win, if it does have monetization issues post-launch, just quit. I don't think that's a good thing to say, because we want this game to do well. And if before launch they're already talking about things that are raising huge red flags and being inconsistent in the way that they say things,
I knew they
like,
wouldn't
I don't
do
want
that.
to quit. Like that's
I
the
wanted
thing
to-
is like I don't want to quit. I don't want to, because the thing is, if I quit, then I just give up.
we're going to have problems going forward. And
Yeah.
I think, honestly, preventative is
Couldn't
much better than the cure.
sidestep
Take my
fast
word
enough.
from that from experience.
Absolutely.
So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, once it's in the game, that's it. Like they're not gonna take it out once it's in the game.
Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you're not already. Join me on Twitch. We'll be playing some PSO2 New Genesis later, and I have a Patreon if you want to support me further. So thank you very much for watching. Stay safe out there. We're out. Peace.
And why is nobody
I
worried
don't
about the
think I
Ashes
can charge
Creation
it.
Shop? Because people aren't talking about that right now, because the game's not even it's not even getting released for like a million years, right? Like people aren't thinking about the Ashes of Creation Shop because it's not coming out in 2 months. And it didn't just get slipped in under the radar, under NDA. Like, of course people have problems with the Ashes of Creation Shop. Yeah, 100%. But that doesn't, like, New World is coming out in like a couple of months. Let me read the rest of these real quick. And I'll see what this is. We never said that we would stick to cosmetics items. We said that we would do so at launch. If you were too stupid to understand that, it's your fault, not ours. Now give us your money. This is exactly what Blizzard did whenever they took everybody's money for those toys by adding intentionally vague wording, by not holding themselves liable for having to actually pay the money for the tournament. Do you guys remember whenever that happened? So back
Why
in
do you shoot at me? What?
Why I say Burning Crusade? Back in BFA.
There's bait.
Back in BFA, I guess
There's
it's
bait in front of you. What?
What
Okay.
would end up
I see what they
happening
mean
is
now.
there was a toy
With
that
inconsistent.
Blizzard put out,
I
and
see.
they the toy, what you had to do is you would buy the toy, and then a percentage of the money from the toy would go towards the amount of money that would be paid to players at BlizzCon for winning the tournament. So 75% of the money went to Blizzard. And
Yep.
I defended this because it was the industry standard. That was the same amount of money that Dota put in. Now, in retrospect, I obviously wish I didn't, because this is what ended up happening, right? The Transmorpher Beacon, yes. Blizzard used the players supporting the toy as a rationalization to not pay their $500,000. They said because the players raised it, now we don't have to pay for it ourselves. That's what Blizzard did. I can't even fucking believe that. I really can't. I still cannot believe they did that. Imagine paying for a game. Imagine paid for a game and then pay not to play it again. That's exactly right. Mark Twain has a quote that applies to the deniers. It's easier to trick a man than it is to convince them that he's been tricked. Well, yeah, because if you convince somebody that they've been tricked, it goes against their ego because people don't want to admit that they're stupid. That's completely fucking accurate. Launch raises all kinds of red flags around the world. Of course it does. If it was a quality of life improvement, it would be in the patch notes and not in the cash shop. True. My hype for New World has instantly died.
Alright. Sometimes I feel grounded whenever I listen to complaints.
True. Amazon Game Studios needed to
I just
needed
feel
this for a home
grounded.
run. Instead of listening to gamers, they kept listening to corporate. True.
Knowing that my
the
brain
game
is
so
not
good that you
still
want to pay
there.
to skip it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
I think the other one is too far away. Yep, I don't see the other one.
Okay, gentlemen. I have promised this video for an entire week. We are finally here. It is finally time. We are going to finally watch this video. The Decline of Blizzard.
That is why Warcraft 3 Reforged is
Sucks.
so terrible. I wish I never played a Blizzard game ever.
That's about right.
It too
Yeah.
pains me to hear what Blizzard has become.
What the fuck?
You shall have your wish granted.
It's Gandalf.
Wait, no! Ah.
What the fuck?
Funny. My mind is completely blank now. I could have sworn I was
Wow.
just upset about something, but strange. I don't really sit with me. I have a tale for you.
What the
Oh
fuck
boy,
is this, dude?
is it about video games? The fuck
So-
you think it is? Of course we're. What do you wish to tell
There it
me,
is.
old man?
Jesus.
Well, long ago.
The decline of Blizzard. Like any game. Always about money. Okay, I get it. Jesus. Don't want to do it again. But if it's for eula, go through that hell. Was it worthwhile? Do I get another 4-star? Who knows? Who knows? I get another 4-star, a 3-star. 71, baby. 71. Let me see. Yep. 12 times 6 is 72. And that's 71. Yeah, 4 more times then. Man, it was not worthwhile. But I did my best. Did the story quest, and I'm gonna do the hangout later on. 4 more pulls. God, was it not worth it? I'll be gone now. So bye. Watch and continue to watch